Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Gal Mean of Revolution. We got to get into the big U and the rolling 60's Rico. Let's get into the update. Salute.
Oh, real quick. So Brick Baby and Loose Cannon called me from jail, and I ain't gonna lie to you, chat. I know y'all like to say, some of y'all like to joke, ask the police, bro. I was on my P's and Q's to not talk about anything that could get these guys indicted for more shit. Listen to this. No, that's not it. That's not it. There you go.
Ain't nothing. How y'all doing? How you doing? You already know, ain't nothing to it. Just right here, Colin. Let me fix this wire. Right here, Colin.
Oh, let me fix this wire? No.
Yeah, he bounced back.
Then it ain't nothing to the soldier, though. I heard that you've been keeping my name in great lights. I appreciate that, big bro. Yeah, man, I want to see y'all get up.
Thank you, Brick. Yo, Brick know I'm the big bro. My nigga, Brick.
Out of the situation, man. We was having a good time on making content, man. I want to get back to making content. I don't want no legal shit going on, bro.
Now, this is where, for everybody who says I'm the police, this and third, these black brothers, I happen to know them not that well. I don't want to speak no type of case-related things, allegations, ask them to answer some stupid-ass questions. That's just my prerogative. That's my prerogative.
Yeah, man. You already know. Just in the middle of gang of he say, she say, we had it right back, though. We had it right back. Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. I don't want to jinx it, but we might peekaboo tomorrow. It might be the pop out because I got like 1.1 in equity in the house. So as soon as we go right there, I go for my bail tomorrow. They should be letting the nigga walk.
Okay, so now let me pause that and bring up supposedly the Brick Baby paperwork that the feds, because it sounds good when they get on this shit, but we forget to realize like the feds they're not wasting this time just for their own health. So they submitted a whole docket or document actually about Zaire Mitchell, aka Brick Baby, and was basically saying, yo, listen, do not give this nigga a bond. They basically say, yo, the indictment first alleges the defendant shooting at individuals, possessing ammunition, and expelled from a firearm, ammunition expelled from a firearm in 2022. Then on 2023, he was captured on an intercepted call arguing with his significant other, in which she repeatedly recounted that the defendant had pointed a gun at her while she was holding her infant child. Execution of a search warrant at the defendant's home followed, and 3 firearms, including a AK-47 style gun and over 125 rounds of ammunition, were found. After law enforcement seized those weapons and arrested him, he continued undeterred. In March 2024, he erupted at his place of employment. Now, this is, after what Wack said to me, I kind of don't even want to just spit the raw facts about this, bro. Bro, I just don't know how any street nigga, bro, could read this indictment and really go online and keep talking about this shit, bro. I really don't know. This feels like, my nigga, yo, this is all I'm going to say, Chad. And I'm going to move on from this topic because this is too much spooky. This content, Rico, is really crazy. Chat, I want you to watch this one thing on Netflix for me. I want you to watch I want you to watch this documentary for me, okay? Or not documentary, but it's like this show is on Netflix. It's called Black Mass. Now, some people are going to readily identify what this is. This is my theory, and I don't know who it is, and I don't know what. Chat, there's somebody who is Whitey Bulger. Somebody is Whitey Bulger in all of this? It makes no sense. Let me tell you who Whitey Bulger is. Whitey Bulger was a guy, we could kind of like watch a little thing about him, but he was a guy from Boston who was doing a lot of selling drugs, doing a lot of shit. And essentially the FBI came to him and said, yo, bro, check this out. We will let you continue to do what you're doing as long as you rat them out. And essentially what happened is that he did that. He would rat out his competition to send third. The only way he got caught is because they told him, here's the one caveat. We don't mind you making money doing what you're doing. You just can't commit crime now that you're working with us. And he did commit crime. They found out, and then he went on a run, and there was a warrant, and they found him like 40 years later. So, like, I don't know if we could play like a Black Mass move series. Let's see. Explanation. Listen.
James Whitey Bulger, born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1929, Whitey Bulger was a notorious Boston crime boss who led the infamous Winter Hill Gang from the mid-1970s.
So the reason I'm bringing this up is like there's so much like really suspect things happening with this whole content Rico. So this is why I bring this up. So back at like in the 70s, there's this guy named Whitey Bulger. He's a gangster. He's doing whatever he's doing. But if essentially the police and him come to an agreement that don't lock me up. I'm not going to kill nobody. I'm not going to hurt nobody. But I'm going to keep making my money. But I'm going to help you catch the other guys. Listen to this.
To the mid-1990s, engaging in illegal activities including gambling, loan sharking, and murder. Surprisingly, Bulger was also a secret FBI informant. His brother William Bulger was a prominent Massachusetts politician, creating an unusual dynamic within the Bulger family. Bulger was on the FBI's most wanted fugitives list for 16 years, second only to Osama bin Laden. He was eventually captured in 2011 in Santa Monica, California, living under a false identity. His life inspired several Hollywood films, including Black Mass, where Johnny Depp portrayed Bulger, highlighting his brutal and complex character. In 2018, at the age of 89, Bulger was brutally murdered by several mafia-affiliated inmates in a West Virginia prison, marking a grim end to his...
Okay. The point what I'm trying to say is that Whitey Bulger stands for a character who basically gets to operate as a gangster, but he's working with the cops. And he works with the cops to take down everybody else, but not himself. Now, I'm going to leave that topic alone. I'm going to leave that. When you realize the feds picked their favorite gangster and they teamed up with their favorite gangster to get rid of all the other gangsters, and they gave their favorite gangster one rule: you just can't kill people. And the only reason why he got locked up, he killed people after they told him you can't kill people. But he was working with the FBI. When you start seeing that, and then you start seeing how like a lot of this content Rico shit is happening, it's just not impossible for me to believe that there's somebody who's like Whitey Bulger, who's working with authorities, who basically are allowed to do certain shit, but they can't cross certain lines. And I don't know. It's kind of odd, bro. It is kind of odd. Anyway, Brick Baby's paperwork has supposedly came out. And let's get back to that. Okay. So this after law enforcement seized the weapons and arrested, blah, blah. He continued undeterred. He erupted at his place of employment. That's why I went into the Whitey Bulger stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why I brought up Whitey Bulger, I'm sorry, my point evaded me before it came to me now. If y'all are keep reading these paperworks that are keep saying niggas are getting locked up because they spoke at their place of employment, like they're literally telling you we're locking them up because they keep corroborating our stories via their place of employment. If anybody keeps speaking about this and what they've done, what they've seen, who used to blah, blah, don't that feel odd to y'all? To me, that feels odd. I don't know. Okay. Threatening individuals in a room with the death threats, fighting security, admitting to possessing a firearm that, look, this is why I can't understand. As I said, I'm checked out of this stuff right now because after the whole thing, y'all see what happened. I'm like, so nobody's going to admit that y'all actions on No Jumper and actions on these apps are directly in the Rico. Or not Rico, not for Brigade, but yeah, directly in the paperwork. This, I believe, was it.
Nigga's energy is what a nigga energy is. Hey, this is my boy right here. Hold on, no, 3 days in a row, gang. You been here 3 days in a row getting asked the same question after we talk. Nigga, I still ain't watched.
Yo, either Brick Baby's a really good fucking actor or Brick Baby's half dumb. You're the top gangster guy at No Jumper, and they start talking about criminal cases and all these things about you that they want you to corroborate. Again, I'm gonna just throw this question out there. If y'all are seeing that people are getting locked up for discussing their case on camera, why are people still bringing up cases on camera? I really don't know, Chad. This is confusing the shit out of me.
I don't know what I said to cuz. Nigga, I was hiding, motherfucker. That ain't no excuse, nigga. I know one thing. The first time I asked you, first time I picked up the phone, I said, bro, I can remember one thing only that was derogatory that I said. Did I or did I not?
Speak on it.
On 6-0 Crip. Everybody else, like, it's cool. Like, all this shit, it was a Monday show. It was a show yesterday. I love you, Adam. I'm not tripping off of you. It ain't nothing like that, cuz the nigga frustrated right now, bro. Because y'all
look like Adam was about to like, nigga, we about to cut your mic. Anyway. Through 2024, the defendant made claims online of murdering people and threatened to do the same to others. Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. Anybody from the West Coast still discussing this type of shit, I'm gonna call y'all the police. Ain't no fucking way. If y'all keep talking, they're quoting y'all word for word, line for line. Why? If y'all, again, I'm not a street nigga. I got nothing to do with y'all. I'm not a street nigga. I could say whatever I want. I think Flacco not a street nigga. He can. You know what they're quoting in the fucking look. At one point, this guy Brick Baby says, "Yo, I got more skulls than squabbles."
Really need to do.
Look, for shit get bad for you. Before shit get bad for you, go drop that check off, nigga. Before we do something to you, nigga. You didn't get put on, bitch.
This is crazy. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Hey, can you give us like at least 2 names from your put on and what block? I ain't never seen you at no meeting at Hyde Park, Horseman, or at 54th. When did you get?
Bro, why were they having this conversation on camera?
Put on?
Baby, when did
you get put on? I got put on in 2002. I got put out in 2002, nigga, on Eileen Street at June House. Nigga, you know what's up, nigga. Yeah, dead homie. So when you get put on?
No, you haven't, bro. You been in
man, cuz nigga Hillbilly was a part of my put on. Nigga Killer Dave was a part of my put on. Nigga, oh, the Dead Homies. My first name was Baby Wild Bill. Nigga, on the Dead Homies at Izzy Turn East Coast. That was the third nigga I squabbled. Who did you squabble, gang?
Nigga, I squabbled everybody.
Who? You didn't squabble everybody, bitch ass nigga. How? You would have went home fucked up.
Shut your buster ass up.
You didn't get put on, bitch. Hey, shut your bitch ass up. How you come up here with 30 niggas and none of them was from 60s, nigga?
Buster ass, hoe ass nigga.
Hey, how many of them niggas was from 60s though?
You ain't like that, nigga.
I'm hood, bitch. Shut up, bitch. You in Vegas, nigga. Pull up. We'll see you at the 10, cuz. We'll see you at the 10, or will we?
No, that's why.
Well, are you gonna be there? Are you gonna be there?
They knew we was coming, nigga.
Who knew we was coming?
Nigga, Adam made sure you were safe.
Bro, on the dead homies, I got more shots than that in my car. You had 30 niggas, nigga, you was still 20 short, nigga. West side rolling, nigga. Fuck is you talking about, nigga? Nigga, man, come on, cuz. Don't get your shit punky-headed, bitch. On the dead homies.
Shut up, you's a hoe.
When did you get put on? We was just asking the question. What day, what block? You hoe-ass nigga?
Check your buster ass up.
You a big you put on, nigga. Shut up, nigga. You was paying the big homie. Shut up, bitch.
Nigga, big
yeah, you was paying. That's why you mad, nigga. Dead homies. You was paying to come around, nigga. On the hood. Just like you got Conrad, nigga, apartment when he got out, bitch. And he don't fuck with you. Just like you still playing Brian Hurst, baby, nigga. On the dead homies. Hey, go drop that check off to my little homie, nigga. On hood for shit get bad for you.
You don't.
Dead homie. Send a screenshot for today.
It's not.
That's what I'm saying, gang. Come on. Dead homies, nigga. Rock spot when 7-Eleven started, nigga. When Gutter Kids started, nigga. Dead homies, nigga. Free Avenue Blue, nigga. And it's blasted, nigga. Come on, bro. Hey, nigga, I got more murders than you got squabbles, bitch. Nigga, Free Avenue Blue, nigga. And it's blasted, nigga. Come on, bro. Hey, nigga, I got more murders than you got squabbles, bitch.
They literally just have it in here. Throughout 2024, he made claims of murdering people and threatening to do the same to others. What? On March 18th, the day before his arrest, he went on a live podcast with someone whom he had previously threatened to kill, which is Loose Cannon. During the podcast, sitting across from the person, the defendant brandished a gun. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Let me tell you this. If y'all keep making content of this shit, man, I'm watching y'all over there. I'm like, there's a Whitey Bulger somewhere out there. I don't know who it is.
She said, thanks for remembering.
There's a Whitey Bulger out there that if everybody who even locked up feel this confident, somebody got a deal. Something ain't right. I've never seen so many people damn near confident while they're all in hot water. If you throw a bunch of crabs in a boiling pot, you ever heard crab in a barrel mentality? The one who was just chilling, not trying to get out, let me get out of here. He just chilling. The podcast they talking about is this. Where is it at? Wait, where's the podcast?
I'm gonna just
with me and like that.
And then he's just
talking about Lefty. That was some years back.
With 600, we both.
Wait, hold on.
You're
talking.
No, look
to them.
Okay, so listen.
Twin.
Look, fine.
I told 600 if you.
Nah, this was. So Brick supposedly had a gun on his waist. It was here.
Look. So you only can respect that. But when my brother, Wack, right, run content on me.
You couldn't.
Or when
here we go. Brick. I don't know if I can find the exact thing.
You go look at
type of personalities we
Gram disposable vape is built different. All homie CC is a fraud, but he has a brother who
was on the internet. He hates dude.
But that article is
right
not
here.
on the internet about the DNA.
It is.
A little different and all that.
The gun is just clearly shown.
You really feel like that?
Yeah.
You said Compa was the one that get high off of like a little bit of shit and trip out. I'm starting to believe that you're the
how you ain't got tolerance?
The paperwork actually mentions in it. Jesus Christ.
That was dumb.
During the podcast, sitting across from that person, the defendant brandished a firearm in his waistband. When the defendant was arrested the following day, an unsecured firearm with multiple magazines and of live ammunition matching that seen in his waistband were found with him staying with his young child. All the above conduct occurred after years of violent crimes, firearm possession, evading charges, and troubling conduct disseminated through the internet. Chat, they're constantly saying these guys beefing on podcasts. Defense lengthy periods of incarceration and supervision have not deterred him from continuing to commit dangerous crimes. There's no reason to believe this arrest will be any different, and all safety of the public demands that the defendant remain detained. Says defendant is intercepted discussing criminal activity, including pointing a firearm at his partner and a child. It's in the first several months of 2023, Brick Baby was intercepted on multiple court-authorized Title III wiretaps, both his phone and his associate's phone. On multiple calls, the defendant discussed his criminal activities through 2023. He discussed how the mother of his children accused him of pointing a gun at her, and defendant claimed it was a lie. But on June 20th, 2023, a second person accused the defendant of the same conduct. That day, the defendant's significant other stated, "You pulled a gun on me with your daughter. You put a gun on me in front of your fucking daughter. You put a gun on me with your bitch ass." The defendant responded, "I don't give a fuck, nigga. I don't give a fuck, bitch. Ever since I've been with you." The following day, the defendant argued with Casey again about her picking up her daughter, ordering her to take the fucking baby outside. "You stupid bitch. You sit in the house all day, you dumbass hoe." Casey told the defendant she couldn't walk or drive because the defendant fucked up her leg, and he was the one who hit on people. Defendant said, "Man, on 6-0, shut the fuck up, bitch. I told you, nigga, keep playing with me, nigga. You just want to see a nigga." The defendant told Casey to leave and said that they were done on the same day. By the way, this is clear as day, Mom. Casey again stated, "It's so fucked up you can't even apologize for the shit you do. You never apologize for treating me bad, pulling a gun out on me like this. Like, shit is cool for you. But you want me to do shit for you? You talking about you don't want me. Shit you got going on, but you gonna pull a gun on me and my child, right?" And Brick says, "Man, on 6-0. Yeah, you won't get, I don't give a fuck, bitch. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't. On 6-0. Crip, nigga." Okay. Following the above mentioned calls, law enforcement obtained a search warrant for the defendant's home, car, and person. Inside his home, law enforcement found 3 firearms and ammunition listed in count 2 of the indictment: a .380, a 9mm, and a .556 caliber assault rifle with over 125 rounds of ammunition. He tried to drop off some of the firearms from his balcony into the courtyard of the complex. He tried to drop some of the firearms and ammunition from the balcony, just as he previously stated that he would on another intercepted calls. Damn, so basically, Brick was saying if the cops ever come up, he's just going to dump the bullets, and they got that on wiretaps too. Throughout the remainder of the period of the wiretaps, the defendant made countless assertions or threats pertaining to violent conduct and weapon possession. For example, on February 20th, 2023, the defendant stated that he does not respect his elders in the gang and would pop anyone on 6-0. Now, I think this whole I see one on the dead homies yet. And every time I listen to Brick, I hear on the dead homies. So they're saying he's only keeping it on 6-0. On March 6, 2023, the defendant was on the phone with his mother, the proposed surety here, and and found the mother of his child outside his home. He told his mother that the mother of his child was in gangland and wanted to expire early. The defendant asked the mother of his child if she wanted to die in front of her son on 6-0. And as the defendant mother screamed to stop because he may be recorded. So his mom was saying, yo, don't do nothing, you might be recorded. Now, that's reasonable to think that maybe it's a Ring camera or somewhere else, but it's kind of like shocking to admit, because his mom wasn't saying don't kill her. His mom was saying, don't kill her here because you might be recorded. On March 6, 2023, the defendant told KC that the police were acting stupid and that he was tired of doing what they told him to, and he was ready to shoot the mother of his child. Later that day, the defendant told another unidentified male that he could kill the mother.
That's very important. He said the police were acting stupid, that he tired of doing what they told him to do. Brick Baby need to explain how is he tired of doing what the police told him to do, and what exactly was the police telling him to do. This is very important. DJ Academics, don't try to go past that what Brick Baby just said. The police acting stupid, and I'm tired of doing what they told me to do.
Mother of his child on 6-0. On March 28, 2023, the defendant said he would body slam the mother of his child on her neck to stop playing with him. In the same call, the defendant discussed how it felt to kill someone and have to go to school and play basketball the next day. He continued to threaten violence and care. Oh my God, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. When this is in your paperwork, bro.
Brick was an informant.
Yo, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. Actually, why am I over here trying to like educate niggas, man? No Jumper did a service. Fuck it. Like, if I seen this with a No Jumper logo in the back, bro, I would never go back up there. I'm good. As these niggas, I wouldn't. And current gang members, like, why are y'all up there? And I'm not saying it hating on Adam. I'm like, you know the topics being discussed. Let Adam, Flacco, Lush, and all the non-affiliates speculate about it. Like, when I did the war in Chirac, yeah, I got tips, pause, and other people tell me shit, but they weren't on camera with me, correcting me and giving me the stories. It gave a plausible deniability where it's like, oh, no, I was making shit up versus it's actually true. They got y'all niggas on camera doing this is crazy, man. The defendant continued to threaten violence. In addition to the intercepted call online, the defendant continued to threaten violence, carry firearms, and discuss both. In March 2024, the defendant crashed out at his place of employment, threatening to shoot people and eventually fighting a security guard. The defendant later admitted in a separate interview he had a firearm on him during that altercation, that he brought his daughter with him also to the studio. In June 2024, the defendant argued over the phone that he claimed he had killed more people than the other person that.
Big dummy.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, man. Yo, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. With all due respect, I want to send a PSA to the streets. This is the last one I'm gonna send. I'm not y'all daddies, and if you're a gangster and you go No Jumper telling your personal gangster story, you deserve to be locked up. You go on Clubhouse defending yourself to Wack 100 about paperwork. With all due respect, and I fuck with Wack again. Don't try to put me against Wack. None of y'all gangsters got to stop going on there defending yourself about paperwork. That, like, you can't be corroborating shit. It's not about defending yourself. You're corroborating. We're reading a document that's clearly just talking about social media shit. Why the fuck, if you come on Academic Show and you do the same, you're an idiot. You fucking deserve to be locked up. You know, I always say not for the crime, for the stupidity. What the fuck are y'all doing? Why would you come on Academic Show to prove your gangsterhood to somebody else and then think you're not going to get locked up? What? Why would you do it on Adam's show? Why would you do it at all? Whatever. On
you know, Brick and informant, he gonna get witness protection and gonna slip out of all this shit because he was out on federal motherfucking on federal bond for those weapons. This nigga is on No Jumper, flashing that gun, acting all arrogant and cocky, was threatening to shoot people. The feds put all that in the paperwork. He have to tell it all. Why? Because he committed more crimes. See, he fucked up. He committed more crimes as he was working. They got him all committing all these crimes. They didn't tell him to shake nobody down with Big U. You see what I'm saying? Then Big U shook his motherfucking ass down.
March 18th, the same individual whom defendant previously threatened claimed he had more skulls than he had squabbles joined the same podcast. During the filming, defendant showed a gun in his waistband, which we looked at too. Defendant is now charged with multiple counts of possession of firearms and ammunition, all in violation of 18 U.S.C. 922. The first charge stems from the defendant shooting 3 bullets into a business parking lot in July 2022 to ward off would-be robbers. Second is a charge to involve all firearm and ammunition found in his home in June 2023. Both these charges followed 5 felony convictions from 2010, 2012, 2014, 16, and 20, respectively, while the pretrial report includes a longer criminal history with out-of-state violations. The morning of the defendant's incident arrest, he had an unsecured firearm and ammunition in reach of his young child. They're saying that on March 19th, law enforcement arrested defendant.
Salute to our brother Out of Abundance for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, family. Salute to you.
On felon in possession charge in an indictment at his residence in Gardena, California, with a significant other and young child. The agent found a Glock 26 firearm with a 17-round Glock magazine with 16 rounds of 9mm ammunition, as well as another magazine and 16 rounds of 9mm ammunition. Defendant kept all of that unsecured despite residing with his significant other and a child he had already. Threatened with a firearm despite being arrested with his firearm and ammunition, despite many felony convictions prohibited from possessing firearms and ammunitions, and despite California Penal Code, blah, blah, possessing large capacity, whatever. So California is like Jersey. You can't have anything with more than 10 rounds. Florida, you could have like 100. I showed a pretrial report, blah, blah. Okay. In 2010, the defendant's criminal charges escalated with a charge for assault with a deadly weapon with great bodily being really a real nigga. I ain't gonna lie. 2012 to 2014, they said he got locked up for narcotics. 2016, criminal threats conviction. He was convicted of criminal threats and sentenced to 2 years, although he was given the sentence. He was given yet another opportunity with suspension of the executed sentence and 3 years formal probation. Robbery conviction. On the 2020, he was convicted of a robbery, sentenced to 6 years in imprisonment. The arrest also featured a high-speed chase and a barricade incident that the defendant glamorized in his music. As a juvenile, defendant was carrying a concealed weapon. He robbed and he was a minor in possession of a weapon. His further arrest for narcotic sales, many failures to appear. Okay, so they're kind of striking out the reasons why he shouldn't be let out. Defendant's crime does not pertain to only violence and weapon possession. He's currently under investigation for fraudulently applying FEMA benefits by claiming to be a renter of a property in Pasadena, California, destroying in the Eaton fire in 2020. Moreover, his digital devices seized during the previous arrest. He was in possession of multiple social security numbers, addresses, and personal identifying information that he had bought on WhatsApp. He even had a photograph of the driver's license with his photograph, but a different name, address, and state. Okay. All right. Last thing I'm going to kind of look up here when it comes to this is, didn't I post that paperwork part? Or is everybody else posting it? Okay. So there's one part that people are saying he's like they're saying he's a snitch.
Bro, you already went past.
Let's see if we can find
you already went past the academic trying to play stupid because them is partners. You already went past it in the paperwork. He said the police acted stupid. I'm tired of doing what they tell me to do. Come on, bro. That's why I said that when I knew he was gonna do it.
Okay. So it says on whatever. Yeah, I don't get it. So Wack even posted. I don't get. He says, "Old Brick Baby said it himself. He was working for the police this March before June raid. On March 6th, the defendant told KC that the police was acting stupid. Blah blah."
Oh, X say he don't get it, y'all.
And
X say he don't get it. X say I don't understand. I don't get it. You don't get it. He said, I'm tired of doing what they tell me to do. Do what? Who tell you to do? The police who are acting stupid. Now, act want to play stupid.
They then, oh no, it was right here where they said he might be recorded. Yeah, that's his mom that said that. On March 6th, the defendant was on the phone with his mother, the proposed surety, and found the mother of his child outside of his house. And he told his mother that that his baby mom was in gangland and wanted to expire early, which means she wanted to die. And the defendant asked the mother of his child if she wanted to die in front of her son. As the defendant's mother, so that's Brick Baby's mother, screamed to him that he may be recorded. How does that mean he's a cops? I don't get that.
Hey, nigga, I got more murders than you got squabbles, bitch. In the hood, nigga. Dead homies, nigga. Yeah, bro. Yeah, nigga. Nigga got more skulls than you got squabbles in the set, bitch.
Now, here's the thing about, why
probation.
I'm going to just give,
talking like that.
I'm going to give a light warning to everybody. If they call you a bitch on No Jumper, don't go up there trying to say you're not a bitch. If they call you a fake gang member, don't go up there to say you're not a fake gang member. If they say that your paperwork, we got to work, they got you saying things or doing things, or you're a snitch, don't go up on Clubhouse either defending yourself. Now, Brick Baby isn't charged with saying I got more skulls and squabbles. He's not charged with it. But when it comes to bail, bail is discretionary. Bail isn't, you're not owed a bail, right? Especially when you're charged with a heinous crime. So in reality, the entire problem with this whole thing is that all of the shit talking that these guys were doing are being used to hold them in jail, because now you get someone to say, oh, these are bad people.
Come on, bro. Hey, nigga, I got more.
So when they could pull up a clip where you say you got more murders than squabbles, yeah, they're gonna turn you down, and they did. You know, they from what I heard, they did not accept his bond package, and they're not trying to let him go at all.
Murders than you got squabbles, bitch. In the hood, nigga. Dead homies, nigga. Yeah, bro. Yeah, nigga. Nigga got more skulls than you got squabbles in the set, bitch. On the hood, nigga. Come on, bro. Hey, nigga, I got more.
Now, also, I am gonna say, Adam, I'm not calling you out, but I do think, after you see this shit, and I could send you the paperwork, if someone like Brick Baby's ever your friend, you would never allow this type of conversation to happen on your platform again. You would quickly look to rebuff it, where someone is saying he has murders more than someone has fistfights. Again, it's not in the indictment, but it's in the detention hearing. They're saying, oh, we kind of believe him. Don't let him out. Now, here's a call with both of them, which I had to endure.
How you doing? You already know, ain't nothing to it. I'm just right here cooling. Let me fix this wire. Right here cooling. It ain't nothing to a soldier, though. I heard that you've been keeping my name in great light, so I appreciate that, big bro. Yeah, man, I want to see y'all get out of this situation, man. We was having a good time on making content, man. I want to get back to making content. I don't want no legal shit going on, bro. Yeah, man, you already know. Just in the middle of gang of he say, she say, we had it right back though. We had it right back. Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. I don't want to jinx it, but we might peekaboo tomorrow. It might be the pop out because I got like 1.1 in equity in the house. So as soon as we go right there, I go for my bail tomorrow. They should be letting the nigga walk.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm hoping y'all both get out, man. You know, you can fight whatever better from outside the malls than inside them shits, you know?
Come on, man. And then I'm coming to see you as soon as I touch down. Don't worry about it.
Come on, man. Again.
They already know.
I want to see y'all doing good, man. Like, let me tell you this, man. Again, obviously, like, we put our differences behind us, but, man, I like everybody up in
this call was from a federal prison.
I like everybody up in the space, and I just want everybody to be doing good, man. I want, you know what I mean? When I see this shit,
bro, I'm gonna be honest, Chad. I was saddened on this call, man. Like, bro, jail don't seem like a pleasurable place. I'm constantly thinking about what they're going through, and I feel bad.
I'm like, yo, man, I need y'all boys to come out of this place.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. It's cool though, you know. They gotta make it look bad, but like I said, I got all type of lawsuits and all that coming because they make me look like the big bad wolf. I ain't even on that case.
That's confusing, but you don't.
We gonna chop it. We gonna chop it,
man.
Everybody rub their palms together, keep their fingers crossed, man.
Normally, I would ask a question here, but I can't.
But nah, we you know, what you about to say?
Ain't no way y'all in the same cell though. That don't work.
My mama, we in the same man. We nigga, as soon as he came in, clearing shit out. Come here, he coming right here, nigga.
Damn.
Hey, listen, that shit, that shit on the streets. That's that shit on the streets. We right here, nigga. That's all we got.
Yeah, damn.
That kind of went over my head. It was kind of almost like, yo, listen, man. And he used to go at Luce to say, who put you on this and thing, but he's basically saying, yo, man, me and Luce, we locked in right now, and we ain't gonna let nothing happen to either of us.
I thought that was like a setup or some shit. I'm like, yo, hold on now. They did that.
We gonna talk when we get right there.
Yeah,
we gonna talk right there.
Yo, but y'all been good though. How's the day to day in there though?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, we running. It's actually straight. Like, you know what I mean? We can play basketball all day. They letting us get fresh air and all that shit. So it ain't really too much of a headache. They ain't just locking us in and 23-1 and all that. We got time to run around and stuff, so it's a little bit cool.
But at least y'all got a court day tomorrow?
Yeah, we go tomorrow. We both go in the morning, so you'll see what come out of it.
Shit, I'm hoping both.
I'm on the 78 to 80 percentile.
Okay. Hey, you been? Yeah, I know you big on the family, so you been hollering at the kids. Everything good?
Yeah, everything together. My daughter, she, the oldest one, she was taking it hard at first, but now she old enough to where I could talk to her, so she cool with what's going on.
Yeah.
That's the shit that's hurting a nigga the most, them kids, but everything else, it's all gravy. They'll come from up under it.
Yeah. This whole situation, man, again, that's why I need y'all to get up from under this, that we could really talk, because it's just so much.
Yeah, and that's why I said when I touch, I'm on my way to you.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, it'll be all good. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be all good tomorrow. I just ain't trying to overhype it. Hold on, here goes Luce. We only get 10 minutes at a time. Hold on. Hey, what up?
Luce, what you getting on, my man? We need you out here.
Probably like tomorrow. Probably a good 80-90% chance.
Oh, that's good. How you been surviving in there?
Man, he's surviving, but it's like BS. You know what I'm saying? Especially the stuff they got.
Yeah. Shit.
So, yep. All right, that was pretty much it. Anyway, let me just cover this one last thing, chat.
If you want uncut and extended versions of my videos, go to patreon.com/.
We can make sure it's done. Movies, videos. But if you don't check it in, oh well. Check your ass out. We're gonna check you in, all right. We're gonna check in all of your equipment.
Big U has ran the streets of LA for decades, doing double-digit stretches in the penitentiary and developing a feared reputation as one of the city's most connected gangsters. But to the public, Big U presents a different persona, one of a reformed ex-gangster turned community activist. He started developing Options, a community-focused non-profit organization with a mission to keep kids out of the streets. Part of the GRID program, Developing Options claims that their mission is to decrease gang activity and to empower the community to strive for a safer, thriving environment for our youth. Big U would solicit donations on behalf of his non-profit, and seemingly put as much back into the community as he had taken, being seen doing food drives and providing equipment and workouts for the local youths to keep them out of trouble, even coaching and commissioning for the Crenshaw Rams youth football team. Clearly, Big U was such a supportive coach in football that his own son was actually drafted into the NFL for his home team, the LA Chargers, a connection that had him and his father rubbing shoulders with music's biggest celebrities like Drake. But according to a recent criminal complaint, beneath the surface, Big U's persona is much darker than he'd want you to think, because he's recently been accused of embezzling hundreds of thousands of dollars from Developing Options, not just allegedly taking the money, but using the charity as a vehicle to extort famous rappers and athletes and transferring the money to himself. But the financial crimes he's accused of are only the tip of the iceberg, as the criminal complaint would reveal that Big U was heard in private conversations recorded on wiretaps, that he was the only gangster from his generation still having people killed, and that he was willing to murder anyone who disrespected him. And according to that criminal complaint, these weren't just threats, as Big U is accused of murdering one of his son's childhood friends, a former football prospect turned rapper who he had personally coached, with the indictment alleging that Big U drove to Las Vegas on his daughter's birthday to kill the young man for wasting studio time and recording a Big U diss song. As dark as this sounds, reading between the lines of the criminal complaint suggests that this is just the tip of the iceberg, with other information hinting towards Big U having been connected to a number of high-profile murders in the hip-hop community, including Nipsey Hustle and Quando Rondo's cousin Lil Pab. The insane details about the double life of this notorious LA gangster might be news to some people, but in the Los Angeles podcast community, this has been an open secret for quite some time, with other street figures who have been around Big U jumping on the microphone and speculating on the eventual outcome of this street drama for years now. Podcasts which I too have appeared on myself numerous times, actually meeting several of the people involved in this case over the years, putting me right in the middle of the story.
So I'm here to let you know as a man, see how it feels to really be in front of the people you're talking about and playing with?
No, I hear it.
It feel you. I hear
he does that all the time.
No, he don't. No, he don't.
Oh yeah,
man, that dude get caught in certain places. He know it. He in certain places. Why you get up and go to Chicago? Yeah, boy.
So today, I'm going to risk it all and tell you everything I know about the secret inner workings of LA's street politics, the podcasters that have predicted this crackdown for years, the streets that have known about it for decades, but in 2025, for the first time, the feds have revealed for the whole world to see bombshell allegations against Big U that triggered the downfall of LA's most notorious Rolllin 60's Crip.
Fast forward 6 months. Big U gets arrested. This is hypothetically for these acts.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, that interview becomes completely fair game, and it's an important historical record. And like, we all have to look at it and say, "Oh my God, loose cannon! I'm so sorry. We all misjudged you. You're a fucking genius. You were telling the truth the whole time."
FBI says that South LA crime boss Eugene Big U Henley fronted a wide-ranging mafia-like criminal enterprise.
And the Department of Justice also accusing him of murdering an aspiring rapper in 2021. Investigators say Henley is one of 18 members of the Rolllin 60's Crips charged in the federal complaint.
He has maintained the image of somebody who gives back to the community here in Los Angeles. The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture.
Justice for them. When I go to Atlanta, I check in. When I go places, I check in. Anytime you want to do movies in the hood, just check it in. But if you don't check it in, oh well. Check your out. We're going to check you in, all right? So you just refusing to pay your bill?
Yeah, maybe I'm just not going to allow you to videotape me as I pay.
I was bagging my victims.
Closets,
Yeah, I was bagging.
dark places.
Everything behind me, you know, kidnapping people, prison, and all that stuff. I had a crew we used to kidnap. That's what we did. We had a crew called the Body Snatchers.
Investigators say that he painted himself as an entertainment executive who's been giving back to the community with various charities, but they say Henley is a violent criminal.
Boy, you is a... I'm telling you, you gotta stop.
Funding a South LA-based charity, developing options. The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture. It is one of a murderer, a thief, a liar.
Hey, Nick. What you got? Justice for them. They don't really with us until it's a problem. Then they call it. Like Quando Rondo.
Yo, I'm so glad you're my friend, because all your options go to jail, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Before I turn myself in, I don't even know what to say.
Wait, that is DNA test in my brother's nails.
Okay, so, ooh, that's bad work. Big U's alleged body, maybe?
Huh? The only way y'all know that is because you is the police, gang. Well, I'm not talking about no.
Didn't I tell you the dummy? Rewind.
To understand the predicament that Big U faces today, being accused of leading one of LA's most notorious gangs, we have to go all the way back to the start to understand how these gangs and Big U ended up running the streets of LA. Like many black families during the mid-1900s, Big U's parents were part of the so-called Great Migration, where African Americans moved from the southern states to the northern states to escape the Jim Crow laws and look for a better life. They were originally from Mississippi before making their way north to Chicago. In Chi-Town, Big U's father would allegedly get affiliated with one of the original infamous gang leaders turned revolutionaries, Jeff Fort, co-founder of one of the earliest major black street gangs in America, the almighty Black P. Stone Nation, cementing an early gang influence in the Henley family all the way back then. Big U's parents would ultimately get separated during their time in Chicago, and in 1966, his mother would move to Los Angeles shortly before his birth. The family settled in an area known as South Central, this being the area where most of the early black residents of LA would settle down. More specifically, they would stay around 81st and Hoover, and according to Big U, it was here where he would first begin to rep the Crips, the gang which was founded in South Central around 1969, around 3 years after Big U was born. Founded by Raymond Washington and Craig Craddock, the Crips then spread further west by Tukey Williams, who would found the West Side Crips.
Because in the area where we grew up at, we grew up over there, was already saying Crip, and was already saying Hoover, and it meant something different.
Big U had a very large family tree who would all move to LA, and the majority of them would eventually settle near Slauson and Arlington, to an area that would eventually become associated with the Rolllin 60's neighborhood Crips. But at the time, there would be earlier gangs.
We got here, the homies wasn't here yet, and then Van Ness Park didn't have no structure, nothing. And I think Big Bunchy was from Fruitown Brim. So it was like Fruitown Brim was in Van Ness Park. The 60s was on the verge of being formed, like it was just West Side Crips. And then it was West Side Crips and it was neighborhood Crips. And the neighborhood Crips was like down the line on the other side, like on Van Ness, like more towards where eventually like the hood took over. It was neighborhood Crips and West Side Crips.
This neighborhood is not only famous for being the home of the Rolllin 60's, but also for being one of the main locations where the classic movie Boys in the Hood was filmed. Growing up, Big U would first become part of a small local clique from the immediate neighborhood called the AG, or Arlington Gang. Led by Big U's cousin, Chili Capone, the group would eventually merge as part of the larger Rolllin 60's, who became infamous around the city of LA.
We was at every party, we was at every club, we knew where every function we was there. And it was funny because dudes would be like, where y'all from? And we from the AG. And like, man, what's that? We're like, man, it's the AG, man. Ain't no what's that. Then it's like, well, where is that at? Man, it's on Slauson and Arlington. Oh, well, y'all from the 60s. All right, fuck it, man. What is it? The problem? and then it would go from there.
Big U would get into trouble with the law from a young age, and already as a kid during the 70s, he claimed to have run with a car robbing crew, eventually getting sent to juvenile detention and spending a period of time on the run from whatever he'd done in LA and going back to live in Chicago with his father. But some years later, in 1979, one of the longest and bloodiest gang wars in LA history would start between the Rolling 60s and their former allies, the 8-Tray Gangster Crips. Sometime later during the early 80s, Big U's cousin and the leader of their AG clique, Chili Capone, would sadly be killed. Now, the more matured Big U would return to Los Angeles to seek vengeance, with Big U saying that at this time he graduated from fighting to guns, and he believed that a gun could get you anywhere you need to be in life. Standing at 6'2", Big U was an intimidating sight even without a gun, and he would still excel at fighting, which was the main way that the early gangs would settle their differences. One of the infamous places where this settling of scores would take place was at the World on Wheels skate rink, which was far away from the Rolling 60s hood, but where the members would nevertheless go to make their presence known. One particularly big brawl would make the Rolling 60s infamous throughout LA County took place on August 1986 during a Run DMC concert in the Long Beach area, where Rolling 60s would, according to Big U, attend purely to start a fight and establish their dominance. The fight would injure dozens of people and cause the LA Palladium to cancel Run DMC's next concert in fear of escalating gang tensions. During the 80s, the county jail would also become a familiar place for Big U as he was racking up some pretty serious charges, which according to the criminal complaint even included multiple first-degree murder charges and attempted murder of a peace officer, but it seemed that these charges back in these days would never stick. But his time in jail would also help him further spread his reputation as a fearless fighter and a charismatic leader. According to the FBI, it was during the 80s when Big U would rise to a prominent position in the Rolling 60s, earning a reputation of a violent enforcer who was willing to kill. One article about Big U stated that he became the lead man for the Rolling 60s and got shot 7 times in the process. And during this time in the late 80s, this was when the crack epidemic was beginning to reach its peak.
Today, there's a new epidemic. Smokable cocaine, otherwise known as crack. It is an explosively destructive and often lethal substance which is crushing its users. It is an uncontrolled fire.
Big U and the Rolling 60s would also partake in the lucrative drug trade. They would even begin to move dope from LA to other cities such as Minneapolis, Atlanta, and Chicago, where Big U would use his leadership skills to set up shops and take over street corners and influencing other out-of-state sets that banged under the banner of the Rolling 60 Crips too. This would also be a time when Big U would get his first experiences in the rap industry, as a rapper called Popper LQ would ask Big U to manage him, thinking that while Big U had no experience in the industry, he did have the qualities to be a manager and the respect of the streets. Big U's friend would also ask him to help managing a young, promising Rolling 60s rapper called Corrupt, who's now known for such West Coast classics as Seawalk and We Can Freak It, as well as being one half of the duo The Dog Pound with Daz Dillinger, the group founded by Snoop Dogg. Big U had also become a family man at this point, and according to himself, he was beginning to be one foot in and one foot out of the hustle game, but unfortunately for him, he would become wanted by the police. And in December 1991, he was arrested as part of a sting operation after attempting to rob 33 pounds of cocaine from an undercover agent, with Big U pulling a gun and attempting to rob the fake plug, leading to the cops that were watching nearby to rush in and bust him. For this, he was given a monster sentence of 23 years, with news reports at the time describing him as a leader, if not the top man of the Rolling 60s. This meant that during much of the golden years of hip-hop, Big U was behind bars, but he would spend his time inside continuing to develop his skills as a fighter and a leader. One story even circulated that he had apparently knocked somebody's eyeball out of their socket during a prison fight. Photos of Big U behind bars would circulate online as the years went by. During a Breakfast Club interview, Big U would even say that he was running the drug trade in the prison yard during this time.
Because I basically took over the whole little drug trade on the yard because I had money. So I came in and I bought all the guards who was bringing in.
But when he wasn't squabbling or selling drugs, apparently he was knuckling down and trying to also find positive influences behind the wall. During his long stint inside, he would meet people who would inspire him to evolve intellectually, such as Michael Harry O. Harris, a powerful LA figure who allegedly played a key role in helping Suge Knight found Death Row Records, and also played a part in the career of Denzel Washington. As a result, Big U would begin to read and write, as well as studying subjects like theology, as he would later recount in interviews. Meanwhile, on the outside, Corrupt would keep Big U's name alive in his music, shouting him out in songs like one of his biggest hits, We Can Freak It. Big U would also keep losing people close to him to the streets while he was inside, like his brother Dwayne Dupree, who worked as a bodyguard for the Dog Pound duo of Corrupt and Daz Dillinger and was sadly killed as gunmen opened fire outside of a recording studio. But Big U would eventually end up only doing 13 years in prison, getting out in 2004 at 37 years old. Conveniently, right as the Rolllin 60's had become, quote, the largest black criminal street gang in the city of Los Angeles. However, Big U wouldn't lose sight of those positive influences that he had gleaned behind bars, and he decided to reinvent himself as a community advocate, starting his non-profit called Developing Options. Their website would claim that Big U started the organization because he wanted to provide the youth of his neighborhood the support that he didn't get when he was growing up. In 2025, the program claimed to have served over 6,000 people while having partnerships with hundreds of agencies. The website even boasts a 90% reduction in community gang violence, and the program has some major supporters, such as perhaps the most famous Crip in the world, Snoop Dogg. But Big U would also keep building his career in the music industry. After getting released, Corrupt would introduce him to the head of Death Row Records, Suge Knight, who would help Big U financially to get back on his feet and take him under his wing as a mentor. The two became, without a doubt, the most respected, or at least the most feared duo that the hip-hop industry had ever seen. But Big U's ferocious attitude to the music industry would mirror Suge's approach. Unfortunately, this meant that for the artists that entered Big U's orbit, some would have runaway success, but others would seemingly suffer sudden and tragic downfalls, which of course brings us to the tragic story of Nipsey Hustle. After getting out of prison, notorious Rolllin 60's neighborhood Crip, Big U, would learn how to play hardball in the music industry from none other than Suge Knight. The infamous blood who had ruled the West Coast rap game with an iron fist was rumored to have used murder and extortion tactic to get ahead in the music biz. From his violent altercations in the lead up to the death of NWA's Eazy-E to the rumored incident where Vanilla Ice was allegedly dangled off a balcony and forced to sign over his lucrative royalties, eventually though, the law and his enemies would catch up with Suge Knight's hardline tactics and crack down on his operation. But by the time Suge Knight's downfall had begun, Big U was already in the game and decided to spread his wings and do his own thing. Apparently whilst inside prison, Big U, along with his right-hand man, Mark Martin, aka Bear Claw, founded an independent record label, Unique Music, in 1996. Big U would use the label to scout potential up-and-coming musical talent, and his deep street connections would lead him to the paths of some of LA's most legendary rappers. It turned out that Big U's nephew actually knew a young, talented Rolllin 60's rapper who went by the name Nipsey Hustle. Big U would begin to help Nipsey using his many industry contacts, ultimately landing him a major spotlight with a verse on Tupac's 2006 posthumous album, Pac's Life. Nip featured with Young Dre and Tupac himself on the song International, which gave Nipsey's career a massive boost.
Him and Big Draws put that together, and LT Hutton. They really had a resume at that time to justify it, but he gave me a shot. And a lot of that was based on the relationship he had with Draws and Steve. And I remember buying the physical CD, seeing Tupac featuring Nipsey Hustle on the back of it. That was huge for me.
Big U later reposted a clip from a Diverse Mentality documentary on Nipsey, along with a caption saying that it was an honor to give him the shot. Big U was playing a major role in Nipsey's come-up, leading Nipsey to drop his first real single and music video titled Bullets Ain't Got No Names in 2006. Nipsey would get support from Big U through the creation of an entire Bullets Ain't Got No Name full-length mixtape series. But story has it that Nipsey wanted to leave a bad deal that he got into with Big U's Unique label.
So I signed into it. It was signed to a 10-year production contract, which started in 2009, which would end 2019.
Crazy.
Big U, on the other hand, has explained in the Drink Champs podcast that he stopped managing Nipsey after a promotional tour when police discovered drugs in one of their vehicles. And although someone would take the charges, Nipsey and others began acting differently towards Big U, which he interpreted as a breakdown in trust.
Radiator cap off, took the apart, stuck us in, I can't remember where we was for 3 days. They took the and scanned it from the router to the tutor, found what they wanted on it, put it back together, gave it to us. I flew back home. When I fly home, we get hit. I get hit at home. They had 21 people. They think they got him. Anyway, make a long story short, he ended up turning himself in, take the case off all of us. He get life, right, for the drugs. When that happened, my team is acting weird. So I'm looking at Steve, I'm looking at Nip, man, get a paperwork from Sony so they can see that we leasing all this. They acting weird. So, me, I'm still kind of like, hey, I'm hot, hot and heavy, but I'm like, I can't with y'all. So you never see me on the tour no more.
And that's when the problem?
No problem never happened. Okay. We didn't have a problem.
Okay.
Well, nobody making no money.
Right.
But particularly after Big U's arrest, many have theorized that it may have been Big U who was using Nipsey's tours as a cover to smuggle drugs to different cities, and this was possibly making Nipsey nervous and looking for ways out.
I think Big U was using the tour bus, Nipsey's tour bus, to at least sometime, or possibly do drug drop-offs, pick up money. And it was making Nipsey hot. He was seeing himself about to take off. He wanted no parts.
Whatever the case, after the two stopped working together, Big U wanted back some of his studio equipment so his son could also use them to record music, something which apparently angered Nipsey.
That's when they got upset, and he made the song. I don't rap.
That song never came out.
It did come out.
It did come out?
It did come out.
Okay.
It wasn't never pushed as a song, but it came out, and I mean, I don't rap, I scrap.
Disagreements would lead to Nipsey making a diss song about Big U, a song titled You Don't Got a Clue from his 2010 mixtape The Marathon, where Nipsey got some things off his chest, rapping how somebody, likely Big U, doesn't have a clue about what they want to do for Nip's career, saying that he's not going to stop for them and that he doesn't want somebody controlling him, rapping how he came up tough, so he was never looking at Big U for a solution to his problems, and suggesting that his former team never really helped him push his career forward. Nip would rap F the middleman, and he would end his verse saying don't expect any favors from him because he wasn't given any favors. According to Loose Cannon, who's probably not the most reliable narrator, Big U would confront Nipsey about the track and challenge him to a fight, where Nipsey would then supposedly move and dance around Big U so fast that he would leave him exhausted, almost like a scene from an old school action comedy.
And he was like, hey, cuz, is this song about me? So Nipsey stood up or whatever and was like, yeah, cuz it's about you. So he was drinking some water out of a water bottle and he threw it on Nipsey, right? He was like, we're gonna have to go get down or whatever. So he thought Nipsey was gonna back down. Nipsey stood up and was like, okay, cuz, let's go get down. They were just dancing around or whatever like that. He was trying to get Nipsey or whatever, but Nipsey was just moving, dancing and stuff like that. And he couldn't hit Nipsey, so he got tired. So he knew he didn't get Nipsey the way he wanted to get Nipsey, right?
An unsatisfied Big U then allegedly got the whole gang involved, calling Nipsey up to get disciplined and allegedly beating him up before Black Sam fired into the air, stopping the fight, leading to police being called and breaking things up. Wack 100 would later claim that Big U actually knocked Nipsey Hustle out during their fight.
First time they first fall out, when they first got Nipsey signed, Nipsey come back, fall out, they went down, there was a fight, rumble happened. I believe Big U knocked Nipsey out. Black Sam comes out, fires 3-4 shots in the air. He's fresh out the penitentiary. Police sit him right across the street. They see it. They come in. They arrest everybody. Black Sam's on parole.
Now, there's some conflicting reasons circulating for this exact fight. It's been rumored that Nipsey Hustle has a daughter by a mother that was allegedly Big U's niece, or at least a close family friend. There was allegedly an incident circulating in a Reddit post where it was claimed that Nipsey actually beat up another man who had been dating his baby's mother after they split up, with Nip administering this beatdown because the man was apparently creating an unsafe environment for their daughter, with it being believed that the woman might have even got harmed herself in the scuffle, leading Big U to be furious at Nipsey. Ultimately, though, Nipsey and Big U would eventually squash their beef and didn't have any more public animosity in the years that followed. But Nipsey's brother Black Sam seemingly always had an issue with Big U. Apparently, this was reciprocated.
And then I'm gonna keep it 100. Me and his brother wasn't cool. Me and his brother wasn't the best of friends. You gotta understand, like I'm gonna have friends that my mama ain't gonna like. I'm gonna have friends that my brother's not gonna like. You're gonna have people that your people don't like. You know what I'm saying?
Nipsey's Rolllin 60's gang ties would be the ultimate liability throughout his career to the very end. A planned private performance in 2010 saw a massive bust on the Rolllin 60's members that he was affiliating with.
People under arrest after police raid a nightclub where dozens of members of an LA street gang were partying.
Police received information that gang members of the Rolllin 60's, a violent South LA gang, would be holding a private party here at the Platinum Club here in Studio City. So they decided it would be a good time to do a gang sweep. Now take a look. It all went down around 2 in the morning. The Platinum Club was surrounded by dozens of officers. They arrested about 40 people they say are gang members of the gang Rolllin 60's. Officers say they learned of the so-called hood party several days before the big event. Now outside of the club, the marquee had a sign there that said who was headlining the party. They are Nipsey Hustle and Deal Makers International. You can also see the number 6x10. Now, police say that was the secret Rolllin 60's gang sign. An officer from North Hollywood was the first to approach the front door of the club, and he says that he was rushed by a group of people inside the club. He called for help, and officers from all areas responded immediately. Now, officers say this gang sweep will clearly cripple the illegal activities of the Rolllin 60's 60's gang, at least for a while.
As time went on, Nipsey would do more things that reportedly angered Big U, like bringing Treetop Pyru rapper YG to the Rolllin 60's hood for the music video for the song Sitches Ain't Bit in 2011. Apparently Nipsey had to fight multiple Rolllin 60's after this perceived violation, but this didn't stop his role, and later Nipsey would even return the favor, attending YG's hood to film the music video for I'm a Thug that featured Meek Mill. This was a video that ironically had footage of fellow Rolllin 60 Brick Baby getting arrested. But anyway, as Nip's career grew, it seemed that Big U's stance towards Nipsey had softened, and he was showing him respect publicly, with Big U being seen doing a speech in Nipsey's honor in 2018 during an event for his Developing Options nonprofit, where rap heavyweights like T.I. and Wiz Khalifa were also in attendance.
Look who came through. Yeah, you know, I got my all black on, man. You know, all black everything. Steve Maniac Lil Bill, day one right here, you know. Big U, what up, baby? Big U and Lil Bill. Sure. You need that. Yeah, that's legendary. Woo!
Remember that. He did what no other rappers do today. He sold his own music. He sold his own music. So when I came along and Steve came along, we had a formula that merged with what he do. But he outworked any artist I've seen. I'm talking about business-wise. I'm not talking about on the mic. Because if you notice, this man is a more professional than 90% of the dudes who are trying to grow to his level. But I'm saying that to our young baby, to a T, he outworked a whole lot of people. And this is the reason why we are giving him the award, the Businessman Award, because he really exudes everything that you need to exercise in business. So let's give this man a hand and clap it up for him. I'm talking about, I came to his house and he lived in all places in A-Train neighborhood and was really, he really had a mic in his closet and was recording his own self. Remember that.
And at one point, Big U would even crip walk on stage, and Nipsey would in return honor Big U in his speech, saying how everybody in the hood saw him as a leader.
And see what that turned into, and putting pressure on us to just stay focused, you know, standing in front of us as young dudes from the area. And always, I remember he like, you know, it's not gonna be one room I walk into that my homeboys can't walk into with me. And I always respected and looked up to him as a leader and as somebody that was just a real man. And I love to see everybody out here tonight dressed up, looking good. Right now, I think we gotta give him a round of applause as well. And like I said, I love you, bro. We're gonna keep pushing. Day one. Thank y'all.
Nipsey was having massive success, culminating in the release of his critically acclaimed 2018 debut studio album, Victory Lap, where he would even shout out Big U, aka Big Draws.
And I'm eating breakfast. My shirt drunk. Yeah, all that. I've been working. You know what I'm saying? Everything, man. Victory Lap coming soon. He wasn't gonna save anyway. I wasn't, but I was gonna change my shirt though. I'm going to. You know what I'm saying? But I'm working.
We will let y'all hear some music, but you gotta wait to pay for it. Ain't no free no more. And you ain't downloading it, we're gonna put a tag. If you steal the music, we coming to your house and putting that
car wash when you got your tent set up. We gonna beat you.
But in March 2019, Nipsey allegedly angered Big U once again by bringing DJ Khaled to the 60's hood and not asking permission. They were there to shoot a music video for Khaled's song Higher that featured Nipsey and John Legend. Allegedly, Big U sent Rolllin 60's members to the shoot to cause trouble, causing Nipsey and Khaled to have to finish the shoot in a parking lot. TMZ, on the other hand, claimed from their sources at the video shoot that Nipsey had seemingly received threats on his life before the shoot had even taken place, and that he was apparently prepared with an exceptionally large security team. They would also claim that it was actually during the filming at the parking structure in Inglewood where Nipsey's team were concerned about somebody in the local Bloods coming to kill him. Some people online would also claim that Big U was actually cool with Nipsey at this time, but it was really a bunch of younger Rolllin 60's members that just wanted to rob DJ Khaled, causing trouble, with there also being reports of some friction between some Rolllin 60's and Inglewood Blood members that might have caused some tension at the shoot. Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, would later seemingly confirm that someone had indeed pressed them at the video shoot, but wouldn't specify exactly who it was.
Not to get into too much detail, but there was a lot of politics getting into certain people. You know, Hustle had DJ Khaled in the hood. Not to be speaking too much on it, but we came frontline like we always do. And, you know, we're going to know we're going to crash out behind it. Back, we're not playing. Ain't nobody saying nothing to Khaled. Ain't nobody doing nothing to Khaled. And he's straight. And Hustle frontline that. And, you know, we felt like certain people didn't like that.
But whatever the case, only a few days later, Nipsey would tragically be gunned down in front of his Marathon clothing store in the Rolllin 60's hood, less than a mile away from Big U's childhood stomping grounds on Arlington Avenue. Nipsey was gunned down by a man named Eric Holder, known in the streets because a fellow member of the Rolllin 60's who was allegedly mad at Nipsey for accusing him of being a snitch. Eric Holder is also an old close friend of one of the other names mentioned in the new Rico case, the rapper and No Jumper host Brick Baby, real name Zaire Mitchell, another 60 that uses the moniker as a street name.
That day he got put on, we came up with the name. That was like a name that was really made for him, but he can't come in and be big. So being my big homie, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's big, and I'm little, are you gonna be baby?
But anyway, following Nipsey's murder, different conspiracy theories would begin to spread about his death, suggesting that it might have been more than just a random argument with a low-level Rolllin 60's member. One of these theories being that Big U had somehow been involved in the murder himself, particularly as he would seemingly tell different versions about where he had been the day of the murder, as well as having a motive due to the rumors that Nipsey had allegedly refused to re-sign a contract to be under Big U's label.
And for those who don't know, Big U is said to be responsible for the death of Nipsey Hustle. This is what a lot of people are saying, and it's because he keeps changing his story about the day that Nipsey Hustle died.
We actually was on 6th Ave with 100 cars. We got all the streets blocked. We waiting on UK to come out the house. Everybody phone blowing up. Nip got hit. Nip got hit. We flying up there. We fly up there and we see the scene.
And then like later on, he would forget he said that. And then he'd go on live on IG and say that he wasn't even in town the day that Nipsey died.
Y'all was accusing me. I ain't even do. It was funny. I wasn't even in town. So figure that one out. But I ain't gonna trust it.
And Nipsey Hustle was signed to Big U's record label, and that contract was due to be up, and Nipsey Hustle wasn't going to re-sign. So that provided motive, okay?
By signing to it, it was signed to a 10-year production contract, which started in 2009, which would end 2019.
Crazy.
Big U reportedly also didn't attend Nipsey's funeral, and an IG Live sometime after the murder would appear to show Big U laughing when somebody commented justice for Nip, and going on to say that people are waiting for him to do an interview.
What you waiting on, though? You don't know what you waiting on, though. What you waiting on? You got to tell us what you waiting on. Yeah, my mama broke you with justice for Dip.
I'm telling boy would have been there like, yeah,
you did. You did.
However, the day after Nipsey was killed, Big U would post what seemed to be a heartfelt tribute to Nipsey, with a caption that said how hurt he was at the news, whilst also interestingly pointing out that the last time he spoke to Nipsey was 3 days ago at the DJ Khaled video shoot, something that no one really publicly knew at that time, with Big U saying in the caption that when they were at the video shoot together, they had spoken about building a school, which some have taken as Big U actually trolling, given the fact that it was rumored that a much more tense conversation had taken place at that shoot. Even back then, people were getting straight in the comments on Big U's post, saying that he was the one who set Nipsey up to get killed. And as time went on, Big U would post more tributes to Nipsey to his Instagram page, with yet more comments continuing to reference a possible setup and the DJ Khaled music video. Less than a week after Nipsey's murder, Big U took to Instagram to announce a peace march in the hood in Nipsey's memory.
Greetings to everybody. To get this message today, we are having a vigil for Nipsey Hustle at 3 to 5 today for all the different gangs in LA that want to come out and support. Over the last 2 days, we have been having meetings amongst us, A-Trays, Rolllin 60's, Hoovers, East Coasters, Bounty Hunters, and everybody like mind to come together. We're going to ask that everybody come to Crenshaw and Slauson, be there by 3. We want everybody to park in the Rouse parking lot. We're going to be escorting everybody from the Rouse parking lot to the memorial. It's not open to the public. It's only for LA street gangs, Bloods, Crips with the like mind and want to support and pay homage to one of our lost soldiers, one of our good brothers and teachers and leaders. So it's open from 3 to 5.
And this indeed went ahead. Over a year after Nipsey was killed, Big U proudly showed off that he had met and recorded a podcast with DJ Khaled and Fat Joe, posting a video where he seemed to be very happy to be with DJ Khaled, specifically with Khaled returning the love and shouting out Big U.
That's right, love, Big U.
There you go.
That's right.
And clips were posted by Big U's label, Unique Music, with captions saying that they miss Nipsey. After Nipsey's death, there was a post on Unique Music's Instagram page claiming that Big U was the person who had introduced Nipsey to the world, but people in the comments would continue to claim that Big U was responsible for what happened, once again suggesting that Nipsey was set up by Big U for trying to leave him behind. After Nipsey's death, Big U posted Nipsey along with references to his unique label numerous times, including one ominous post where he put up a video of Nipsey saying that he can't follow other people, they should be following him.
Blind can't lead the blind, bro.
Yes,
Somebody
sir.
gotta have a vision.
Yes, sir.
You gotta follow who got the vision. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
if you
sir.
stuck on stupid, I ain't gonna judge you or have no disrespect for you, but I'm
gonna
definitely
be
not-
over here.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna follow you or take heed to your opinion. You're gonna have to follow what I'm doing.
I heard
And
that.
after a while, that way of thinking versus this way of thinking, more people lean toward this way because of the results.
And in the 2025 indictment, it was claimed that in a monitored conversation, Big U even suggested that he was the biggest Rolllin 60 member ever, specifically saying that he was bigger than Nipsey Hustle. But despite the passing years, the rumors of Big U's involvement never went away, and people online would continue to speculate endlessly about potential conspiracy surrounding Nipsey's passing. Big U would comment on the rumors directly on numerous occasions, like in a 2022 No Jumper appearance, where he said that he was just associated with the murder of Nipsey because he's a very famous Rolllin 60's member, and suggesting that he had a great relationship with Nipsey, and people are just spreading the rumor for money and clout.
Like how he was different when all his songs, every album he put out, since we had the so-called altercation, he shouted me out.
However, in 2024, Nipsey's brother Black Sam would do a podcast with Big Boy, alluding to someone being sent to kill Nipsey, rather than this just being an isolated crash out.
It is random as what the public thought it was. Like Nip seen somebody, Eric, and talked, and
I mean, you know, he already got convicted, so for me, without going into too many details, so for me, he felt he was supposed to do a job, or somebody sent him or whatever. It just don't make no sense. It's not random, you know. It's gonna come to the light.
Loose Cannon, a former ally of Big U and one of the co-defendants in the upcoming case, actually revealed on No Jumper that Big U had told him Nipsey was dead before it even happened, with Loose Cannon saying that Big U had prior knowledge of Nipsey's death before it all went down, mentioning on the phone to him, which led him to call Nipsey Hustle moments before the shooting took place.
He FaceTimed me. So he FaceTimed me and stuff like that. He was like, Nipsey just got killed. I'm like, sick, so I didn't hear that. So I hang up with him. I called Nipsey and I'm like, Nipsey, what's up? He was like, oh, what's up with it?
Nipsey answered.
Nipsey answered. He answered the phone. And I was like, I love you, cuz, or whatever like that.
Did you tell him the call you just got? Or you didn't even mention it?
I didn't mention it. And that's what fucked me up, because my cousin is Nipsey baby mama. You get what I'm saying? So it was like, I could have probably stopped it, or it had it.
Stop what? You mean that?
No, because listen. So after I talked to Nipsey and I was like, "Yeah, I love you, cuz," or whatever like that. I'll see you later, or whatever. So I hung up the phone. I thought Big U gave wrong information. 30 minutes later, the homies blowing me up like they just killed Nipsey, and so I'm like,
Wait. You get a call from Big U telling you Nipsey just got killed.
Yeah.
You panic, called Nip. Nip answered the phone.
Yeah, and
you
we
like
were just talking on regular. So it's like at the end of the day, I didn't even think about it, because
you don't even warn him that you got that call from dude.
No, because their relationship was so fucked up. It'd be like they be hot one minute, then they be cold the next minute, and then they be lukewarm. Like you
And
just
30 minutes after you get off the phone with Nip, he get killed.
Yeah, I got it.
So
all
you
on
think he hit you a little too early?
This clip actually led to a cease and desist being served on No Jumper, and Adam22 being advised to remove the content from his channel.
So everybody knows I got a cease and desist about the Loose Cannon interview that I did with Wack 100, and a cease and desist showed up from the one and only. Never thought my life would go in this direction. Never thought I would be getting a legal notice from the big man himself.
Oh,
Big
yeah, I just seen
you.
Big U said he ain't feeling that
Big
shit.
Lucifer.
Big
Is that a diss? I think that's a whack term. I don't want to say that. So from our perspective, We have decided to back away from this. This is not a narrative that I was really interested in pushing in the first place. The idea that Big U had any sort of, criminal doings in his adult life, or that, that he was involved with anything with Nipsey. This is not something I ever really bought in on. It was kind of a surprise to me that it got trotted out on the podcast. I don't have to make this kind of statement about why we decided to remove it or whatever, but I did ultimately make the decision to take it down.
Interestingly, though, when the 2025 criminal complaint dropped, it would turn out that Loose Cannon wasn't just anybody claiming Big U's involvement, but he was in fact an alleged former enforcer for Big U, conducting robberies on his behalf as part of an extortion racket later described by the criminal complaint as Big U Enterprises. But even more crazy, even before the criminal complaint revealed these bombshell allegations, Loose Cannon would openly tell stories about these robberies that he did for Big U on the No Jumper podcast for the whole world to hear. When the 2025 criminal complaint dropped on Big U, the world will be introduced to a dark trail of alleged crimes. But the complaint itself wraps up all of these activities under one umbrella organization, with the so-called Big U Enterprise allegedly engaging in an array of criminal activity, including extortion, robbery, murder, human trafficking, wire fraud, bank fraud, other financial crimes, obstruction of justice, illegal debt collection, illegal gambling, and conspiracy to commit fraud. Some of these crimes seem absolutely crazy in the modern day and make you think more of the Black Hand mafia extortion seen in the Godfather movies than gangbangers in South Central LA. In fact, Big U actually previously referred to his life as a modern day mafia story, but things were much more complicated than that, because to cloak this alleged criminal activity, according to the complaint, Big U's non-profit was at the front and center, and this, along with his persona he presented to the public as a reformed gang member, actually allowed Big U to navigate both the criminal underworld and the halls of legitimate power and business at the same time. His non-profit umbrella organization, Developing Options, which controls a number of seemingly innocent entities attempting to do positive work in the community, actually received over $500,000 from the GRID program controlled by the City of LA, with a total of over $2.3 million from the City of LA being handed over, hundreds of thousands of which Big U allegedly withdrew personally as a salary. He would also allegedly embezzle funds that were meant for community work, in a practice where he would solicit donations from celebrities for his charities, then taking the money for himself personally. The criminal complaint later called Big U's organizations a front and part of a plan for Big U to control the streets of LA undercover. And according to Wiretaps, Big U's persona as a reformed community activist was just a facade, and behind the scenes, he was openly claiming how he was still the same man that they said he once was. Big U was also heard on a wiretap saying that no one can beef with him because he'd kill them. Apparently, even later bragging to someone about being the only gangster from his era still murdering people in the modern day and age. Big U's alleged right-hand man, an enforcer, and underboss was a man named Sylvester Robinson, aka Vay, with Mark Martin, aka Bearclaw, being a trusted lieutenant. Big U's name and crew pulled a lot of weight and called a lot of shots in LA for decades, particularly when it came to the nightlife. There's one infamous story about Big U getting into a fight outside of a nightclub in 2014 and a rumored deadly wave of violence and extortion that came soon after. In a video posted by TMZ, Big U is seen trying to enter a club with his friend who's being turned away, who then attacks the security. Big U decides to back up his friend, getting into the fight and ending up being floored by the Samoan security team, being left bloodied and carried away by the police.
You, Mike, hey, just stay down. He's good. You, Mike. Hey, close the gate, Mike. Close it up. Hey, close it up. Get him inside.
Get him out. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out right now. Go. Get him out.
Be cool. Be cool.
I don't want him in this. I don't. Get out.
All right, cool. Get him out here. Back up. You, come on. You. Big you strike up. Huh?
No, he just swung in my guard. Leave him on the ground.
No, he goes to jail. He goes to jail tonight. Nothing to see, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Move.
Hey guys, back up. Come on, what are you doing?
Big U later claimed that he had gone head-to-head with 15 Samoan security guards.
At the supper club up here. We was going in. It's only 30, 40 minutes left in the club. This dude high or something. The homeboy house. Yeah, they won't let him in. I'm like, I'm gonna stay out here with him. He just get off on the security guard for no apparent reason.
Get off, meaning?
He just fired on the dude. Oh! All the security together is me by myself.
Big U, you straight, girl?
So I made the assessment. It's 15 of them. You fit to get your whooped. But how the rules go, I'm gonna get down where I'm mad at. I took flight. So when I'm on the ground, I'm wrestling with one dude came and kicked me. If you look at the film, he kicked me in the side of the face.
Back up. Huh. Hey, give me one fight diving over here. Back up, man.
So the blood, while I'm on my back, wrestling with the blood filter in my eyes. I couldn't see.
Hey, guys, back up. Come on, what are you doing?
I think I did pretty good, me versus 15. You know what I'm saying?
Big U would also claim that in the aftermath, hundreds of goons from different gangs came to Hollywood following that incident to back him up.
And dudes from every set in LA really stood up and was offended by what they had seen. My homies is Bloods, that's Cuz, that's from every set was upset.
In a subsequent video, Big U was seen bloodied and in cuffs as rappers The Game and T.I., along with Big U's son and an army of 6'0s, square up to the police, initially believing that it was the police that brutalized Big U.
Are you trigger happy too? We not you trigger happy? TMZ, put it on. TMZ, hey, get the camera on Big U. Hey, listen, hey, listen right now. Police didn't do it. Security did. Hey, T.I. Who did it? T.I. Police didn't do it. T.I. Who did it?
But after the crowd realized that the security were responsible for jumping Big U, they begun to confront and scuffle with the security, with one of the people personally involved in beating up Big U taking off running from the mob.
Who did that to you? Who did that to you? Please. Who did that? Yo, people say they did it. Who know what it is? Put it down.
Hey, Scott, I got you.
Then, rapper The Game even squares up to security himself, ready to fight.
Look at Game sweating the security right now on the police.
Then, what sounded like young Rolllin 60's members ready to crash out would escalate things further, looking for those responsible and saying that they had never seen Big U in that sort of state, with everyone trying to remove them from the situation before things escalate and get deadly.
I'm talking to you. I ain't never seen no like that. Who hit you though? Who hit you? Hey, what happened? No, I can calm the whole situation down. What happened? I can tell you.
Look, it's a full Mexican standoff right now. We got a whole Mexican standoff with Game's crew and the police.
The Game would still try and square up to the security, who was saying that Big U has to go to jail tonight.
Watch your back, watch your back.
The whole situation was a mess, and according to one rumor, this actually led to a gang war between the Rolllin 60's, backed up by other gangs, and the Samoan security gangs that run the nightclub doors in Hollywood, with Big U saying in his Hip Hop Uncovered series how things got so serious that 4 to 5 people were expected to die over this, with some Redditors even taking this to mean that 5 people had indeed lost their lives as part of this beef.
There was a lot of violence against just clubs and security against clubs, and people expected 4 or 5 people to die. We got so many people dying over bullcrap. I didn't really want to add to that. That's not the legacy I wanted to have. That was a misunderstanding, you know what I mean? Went too far. So we ended up shutting Hollywood down. We had to meet with the powers that be.
Now, I wasn't able to find any evidence or cases relating to murders that happened in Hollywood following this incident, but apparently after things reached a boiling point in the streets, the Supper Club and Big U had a meeting to try and resolve things. This ended in the Supper Club allegedly cutting Big U a check for $200,000 and doing a food drive for his community movement.
You know, we had sat down with the owners of the Supper Club. They wrote me a check for over $200,000. We used about $70,000, $80,000 to do a food giveaway, toys. It was amazing.
The Supper Club's giving all these free toys and food. They're underprivileged, right? And so I start talking to Big U, the organizer of the event. How come the Supper Club was so keen to be involved?
Well, we've been messing with them since back in, the incident we had. They want to reach out and help the community.
For me, being able to take something bad that happened for me and turn it into a positive, instead of continue to let it be a negative, that's what I'm all about.
Supper Club later put out a public statement suggesting that Big U was the victim of a rogue security officer who took things too far, saying that Big U was not arrested and had no part in the violence, with club owners distancing themselves from the security that were working that night and promising that they would never book them again. Clearly, Big U was flesh and blood, like any man, and could also be caught slipping. But just as clearly from what came after, he was a formidable force in the streets who wouldn't accept this kind of violation lightly, and nightclubs would seemingly be a regular target for extortion attempts by the Big U enterprise. The 2025 criminal complaint would outline a situation where Big U shook down club owners, promising them T.I. and Wiz Khalifa to turn up to an event in exchange for 33% of the profits. These artists never turned up, but Big U demanded a $30,000 payment from the club, plus more of the profits, despite not keeping up his end of the deal, with a taped recording depicting Big U pressing the club owner and promising to tear the club up if he didn't get what he wanted, apparently vowing to bring 5,000 Rolling 60's members to destroy their club if he wasn't paid the money. And famous people weren't safe either. The criminal complaint would mention a litany of celebrities and athletes that had paid Big U a checking-in fee when coming to LA, checking in being an extortion method that out-of-town people often fall into, as they're pressured to get into contact with the local gang members, this often involving payments for protection and to not get robbed. The criminal complaint explained that checking in was a street tax that had to be paid to guarantee safety from gangs and criminals in the city. And according to the complaint, the Big U enterprise claimed control of LA and expected to collect tax from entertainers in the city conducting certain types of legit or illegal business. The criminal complaint outlined an incident where boxer Adrian Broner and his friends were part of a fixed dice game against some NBA players, who then checked in with Big U and allegedly paid him $100,000, after which Big U gathered his goons and went to confront Broner, allegedly roughing him up along with his friends for not checking in and for apparently cheating NBA players out of their money. But even as far back as 2020, people on Reddit would debate why Big U pretends to be a reformed gang member whilst also openly enforcing the checking in extortion method publicly. People knew that he was living a double life years ago, and this was an open secret in LA. Big U would even be seen in video clips on social media going to film sets where he had apparently forced the production to check in with him, saying that if they didn't, he would be taking all of their equipment.
Movie production in the hood. That's how we do it, young man.
Top flight, baby. Yeah.
GB running this here movie set in the hood.
Come on out here.
Coming out here and checking in with GB, getting these movies done. You better know it. You know, anytime you want to do movies in the hood, just check it in. We can make sure it's done. Movies, videos. But if you don't check it in,
Oh, well.
check your. We're gonna check you in, all right. We're gonna check in all of your equipment. We're gonna check in all of your equipment.
Big U was openly the gatekeeper for LA check-ins, warning out-of-towners in numerous clips that if you choose not to check in, you're not safe and you'll suffer the consequences, as well as saying that he too checks in when going to other cities.
When I go to Chicago, I respect Chicago wholeheartedly. I check in. When I go to Atlanta, I check in. When I go places, I check in. And I don't think nobody is safe. I know dudes right now from LA who are actual gang members who have been robbed for their jewelry, who real killers, like who really real killers. Like if he ever find out who did that, he gonna knock everybody down. You understand what I'm saying? You just caught slipping. You know, that's how it is. You know what I mean? And you try your best not to be slipping. And if you have the means not to, why do it? You know what I mean? And it's just about, sometimes it's about respecting, you know, yourself and then trying to get home. So, I mean, you know, I hear a lot of back and forth on that, but I mean, I don't know that it's a perfect answer other than me, myself, I check in.
But it appeared that Big U even had issues with podcasters like Gilly and Wallow of $1 Million worth of game.
Gilly and Wallow, they got a problem. I couldn't have Philly. Them the only two dudes I'm looking for. I got no problem with nobody else, no beef with nobody else but Gilly and Wallow right now.
Wack 100 and Loose Cannon would both tell academics that the Rolllin 60's, on the orders of Big U, once stripped Gilly and his son and sold their jewelry for $100,000, with Wack 100 also revealing that Nipsey Hustle allegedly ended up giving Gilly $20,000 back because he felt bad for him.
Man, you better ask Gilly. Gilly
no?
No, Gilly got stripped down by the homies because of
You're
Big
lying.
U.
Wait, Gilly?
Yeah, the homie Rose and them stripped.
We're talking about Gilly the Kid. We're talking about the guy with the podcast. We're talking about $1 million worth of game.
He got his son stripped down, and they stripped down Gilly.
What do you? And for what? Like what? What do you mean? Gilly never got robbed though.
Yeah, him and his son got stripped. They stripped him in the 60s. Big U lined them up. They stripped him, took all their jewelry. The man that did it came on the stage and said he did it, and get mad at me like I did it. I ain't did it. I ain't do it. I wasn't there.
No,
what mad at me for?
Gilly official from Philly, man. Gilly not going like that.
Gilly wasn't had his hands up in the mother air with his 2 kids. A father that couldn't protect his 2 kids. That's what he is. I told that, look, bro, don't be popping at me because with another saying, nigga, that from Rolling 60 Crip for real. Everybody know that is. He telling you, Big, you lined your punk ass up. Now, if you got your ass robbed over there, you and your kids, he said Nipsey went over there and gave it $20,000 because he felt bad for him.
However, it seems that whatever may have happened, Gilly would repair the relationship with Big U, as they could later be seen acting very friendly with each other. But no one was safe from the Rolllin 60's extortion racket. But it seemed that the biggest targets were grey market businesses that couldn't rely on the law to protect them, particularly unlicensed smoke shop dispensaries, with Big U and his henchmen allegedly running an extortion racket where they would charge protection money to a store and rob them if they didn't pay up. In some cases, robbing them and giving some of the proceeds back if they agreed to line up other robberies and to prove what they were capable of doing. Footage of one armed dispensary robbery allegedly carried out by Rolllin 60's on a dispensary that happened to be owned by Nipsey Hustle and Black Sam would even circulate on Reddit, and this is where Loose Cannon enters the picture. According to some sources, Loose Cannon, real name Tremaine Ashley Williams, had a tough upbringing in South Central LA, losing his father to a death sentence in prison. Loose found himself deep in the politics of LA streets and prison yards, eventually turning to the music business as a producer, making beats for people around him like Nipsey and Draco the Ruler, before turning to rapping himself, collaborating with Nipsey Hustle during his come-up, and allegedly almost getting signed by none other than Dr. Dre, who according to Loose produced his song Bringin' California Back featuring Nipsey Hustle and YG. But in the end, Dr. Dre ended up signing Kendrick Lamar, as he considered him to be the safer choice, who didn't have as many potentially disruptive ties to the streets.
Some peace to Nip, man.
Yeah.
You had a record with him in 2013, right?
Yeah. Bringing California Back, produced by Dr. Dre, with featuring YG.
Hold on, you said produced by Dre.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Like Andre Young.
Yeah.
Oh, worked with Dre?
Yeah.
How closely did you work with Dre on that? You just got the beat, or you were able to link with him?
When I went to jail, it was like he wanted to sign me or whatever. It was me, Nip, and Kendrick Lamar. So at the end of the day, he was like, y'all getting people killed. People getting killed out there. I don't want to be around with this gangbang. I learned my lesson from dealing with the last situation, and he chose Kendrick Lamar.
That makes sense.
However, in another early interview, Loose would also imply that he was in fact the producer of the song, making the melody of the beat with a church piano while being locked up.
So you basically wrote everything. Did you produce that track too, right?
Yeah, I produced it. I did everything.
So when you're in jail, how were you able to kind of make that beat?
They had church, right?
Oh, okay.
I used to go in the church, use the keyboards like that. That's how I did it. And it came out dope. So
no, for real. I remember that was the first song I actually heard, that you created and that you were in. I was like, hell yeah, this is dope as hell, because you had YG and Nipsey, and it was about, bringing Cali back, the hardcore, just kind of a party vibe with it too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just when I do music, and people don't even understand the hook, me singing on it, rapping, I did so it's I do everything. I make it easier for other artists.
Perhaps the beat might have been a collaboration between Luce and Dre, although according to a poster that was posted by Luce himself, the producer is tagged as Buckwheat on the beat, but perhaps this version was a remake. But anyway, Luce has indeed allegedly racked up production credits and writing credits on projects with numerous major artists like Rihanna, Snoop Dogg, The Game, Nas, and 50 Cent. And he supposedly even worked as the opening act for Drake and 21 Savage during their It's All a Blur tour, although he's not included in the Wikipedia page about the tour for some reason. These discrepancies seem to raise some interesting questions about Luce's background or lack thereof. In fact, according to Luce's twin brother, Jermaine Williams, much of Luce Cannon's alleged music production credits are actually not true at all.
Even though he has a little bit of music on his platform, he's got the Draco song, he's got the Nipsey song. He has claimed all kind of music success with people that I know for a fact he doesn't even know. He don't know Nas. But the Luce Cannon I know has been worked with Nas for probably a decade. He doesn't know none of these other people that he's claimed to produce, that he's worked with. Have you heard some of his claims of his music success?
I could only go by what I did for him. Like he have songs with, Game. He got songs with J-Rock. He got songs with Nip, YG. Songs that I produce. I can't speak on anything that he's produced. I mean, that I heard little clips. People send me little clips. He would have been too young to work with these folks when they was doing their music and they did hits and all that stuff. So if people wants to believe the that he says, so be it. All I could do is say what I did with him.
Moreover, LA YouTuber Street TV, together with guests like the rappers Munchie B and Spider Loke, have claimed that Luce has stolen his entire public persona from an older hip-hop industry insider that also has the name Luce Cannon.
Got me on this Luce Cannon, anti-Luce Cannon, anti-fake Luce Cannon campaign is because I have a personal friend that I've known since, I want to say 13 years old, 14 maybe, that goes by the name Luce Cannon. That's been in the music business since I've known him. That he's introduced me to some of the biggest rappers that I've ever met. I met them through the real Luce Cannon.
Because you guys, I believe this is the reason why Luce Coochie Lips Cannon chose Luce Cannon as a name to run with, because of the credits that were already attached to it and the lack of a apparent profile that was so obvious. Because if you from rolling anything, especially 60s, I don't care if it's 90s, 40s, 30s, anything, and you have a name that includes O's, to eliminate the O's is so contrary to what we do when we play with words and represent what we represent. He had to take that name for the purpose of receiving the exact same credit that your partner was getting.
The real Luce Cannon hit me up during the MySpace years.
That's what it was, MySpace.
And he asked me, who is this dude, Luce Cannon? He's supposed to be from 60's. And I remember I think he called Steve Lobel because he knew Steve Lobel was tapped into the 60s. And he said that, I think Steve Lobel told him that, it ain't nobody, there's nothing to worry about.
My mama, dad, homies, daughters, lokes, loved ones, everything I love and live for, my sister and my sons. It's the same thing I did. It wasn't Steve, but I hollered at Big U. He called me back with the exact same report, bro. Back in 06, when I ran across this mother content of Luce Coochie Lips Cannon lying on me, claiming he had met me and disrespected me, and I had no idea he existed.
Oh, you don't say, cuz you not no crip.
Look how far he would go. That's why you guys know he been trying this since 06.
Normally I wouldn't care,
right?
But I grew up with the real Luce Cannon.
Right.
The real Luce Cannon is getting calls all the time about what this dude is doing, about claims that he's been with other celebrities that the real Luce Cannon never been with. So he's got to take these calls. Nah, I never did a song for 50 Cent. He has worked with Nas. He has worked with some major dudes. Right. This dude, the fake dude, is just putting it all out there.
Robbing dispensaries is one thing, but robbing song credits and your entire career history is just wild. But Luce's former partner, Jasmine Gigi Adams, also told Street TV that Luce has told many outlandish lies about himself, painting him as a possible pathological liar.
Tremaine, he kind of gets you into a place. I mean, it's real intense when he first meets you. It's, I mean, as you guys can all see, I'm sure from the interviews that everybody has seen, the lies are outlandish, and he's very good at when he's outed for the lies, he'll come up with an even bigger lie. And then he's got, little minions around him to support the lies. And then, next thing you know, you don't know what to believe, even though you have the proof in front of your face.
Okay, all right. How about Nas?
No, Nas is cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
what was it like when you were working with him?
It was just like, cause gifted a whole nother level. So it was like a different vibe. It was like out of here. It's like a different atmosphere.
What did you do with him?
Produce for him.
Oh, what did you produce?
The song with him and what's that factory? I produced so many records, I've been forgetting the damn names.
But I think that was kind of the reason why I stayed, because the fake Tremaine didn't have, it's not like he had tons of money or anything when I met him. So I think it was more so about myself. It was just me.
When you look back at it, was there anything about him that you actually liked?
He was very persistent. He was showered you right away with just like flowers, very persistent, and taking you out, kind of just treating you like like a lady. He never pressured you for sex or anything like that. He was just very persistent, kind of came off as a gentleman. And then of course he's telling you these lavish stories. I own Subways, I own GameStops, I have my life together type thing and stuff like that. And I had my own businesses too. So it was kind of like he makes you feel like you've met your match.
But whatever the case, Loose Cannon would eventually find himself in the podcast world, appearing frequently on LA's leading rap culture podcast, No Jumper, arguably becoming a loose link when it came to the secretive code of the streets. But before Loose had fully transitioned to a more sanitized media presence, he was allegedly towing the line for Big U in the streets, specifically conducting robberies of dispensaries that were being shaken down. According to the criminal complaint, on July the 5th, 2021, a robbery went down at an unlicensed dispensary that had been paying up to $25,000 a month to the Big U enterprise, but they ultimately got tired of being extorted and decided to stop paying up. On that day, 11 thugs were sent to the store, including Loose Cannon personally, with them running into the dispensary with guns and masks, robbing the store of cash, stock, and even sticking up the customers. Apparently during the robbery, one of the masked men put the store owner on the phone with Big U, who invited the victim to his home. And when he arrived there, he found Big U and the robbers with the proceeds of the robbery, telling the victim that he just robbed himself, giving him back some of the stolen things and demanding $10,000 so it doesn't happen again. Now, this is a crazy extortion method as it is, but to make matters even more crazy, years later, after falling out with Big U whilst on the No Jumper podcast, Loose Cannon would discuss this incident openly, saying how he found it strange how Big U would send them out on robberies and then the victims would later turn up to take their things back.
So basically it's like, cause he'll be like, he'll manipulate things. Like we'll go and do something, and as soon as we do it to show up to the house like 10 minutes later when we trying to counting everything, right? And we be like, how do they get that? Oh, well, we're gonna just give them like $40,000 back and stuff like that. But cause it's actually putting us in paperwork, right?
Luce also claimed that Big U had supplied guns to the homies, but noted down the serial numbers for these guns as collateral.
Seen it get like 20 guns, and when he got 20 guns, he's selling them to the homies. But I'm like, why are you writing down the serial numbers? So it's like he was doing like that, and I didn't catch on. So it was like I'm waking up now. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm his right hand man. You get what I'm saying? So when it came down to like dirt and stuff like that, I'm gonna get it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Ultimately, it would seem that Loose Cannon's fallout with Big U was a big contributor to his downfall, as Loose would go on podcasts and lives on his own social media and speak openly about illegal things that he had done under Big U's leadership. Another crazy situation that emerged in the criminal complaint and on a podcast was an apparent run-in with the rapper Meek Mill, where Loose and other 6'0s had allegedly grabbed hold of Meek at a venue and threatened to kill him unless Rick Ross, Meek Mill's label boss, gave them $50,000, which was apparently paid up.
I heard Wack on the interview talking about what I did to Meek Mills.
Wait, you did something to Meek Mill?
Oh, Lord.
It said y'all was trying to kidnap him. No, that's cap. There was a Big U portion of it.
Yeah. So basically, Meek Mills was talking real reckless on Twitter and stuff like that. So
talking reckless.
Doing
it now.
Yeah, so we caught him at the club where he was performing at. As soon as he walked in or whatever, all the security that was with him, they spent around and grabbed Cuz.
Get on the phone with Ross.
Honey, all right, that's enough now. We're not gonna tell all the details.
No, we gotta hear this one.
I said, get on the phone with Ross.
Now this one will go viral. What?
Get on the phone with Ross, neighborhood Crip. So he got on the phone with Ross. I took on the phone with Ross.
Wait.
Because we needed that bag, or because
he owed y'all money.
No, he didn't owe no money. We took the money.
Oh, this was extortion. Oh,
not extortion.
Ken, all right.
See, yeah, we don't want.
See, I'm gonna have to probably bail him out after this
We
interview.
don't want to.
No. We'll just say Meek Mill snitch on him. It's fine. Meek ain't gonna tell.
Look, we don't want to get the extortion part. Ever just a business transaction. You go.
How much I charge him?
50. That's it.
50,000?
Yeah.
I hear Rose. Hey, look, I got this. You got this artist you pumping. You don't want this to get out. We need 50. He brought 52, Crenshaw, and 48. He brought that money. He brought it fast. And when he brought it, I hit Big Useless and said, we on our way. Gave Meek Mills his stuff back and left.
Now, for the record, Meek Mill later denied this, and if one thing's clear, Loose Cannon is certainly somebody that will happily lie for clout. But Loose was seemingly so fresh out the streets, he didn't seem to realize that he shouldn't have been talking so openly about these crimes on podcasts. Combine this with the comments that he made about Nipsey Hussle's death and the subsequent cease and desist Big U sent to No Jumper, it was then emerging that Big U had a serious problem on his hands, as the inner workings of his street empire were now being aired out on podcasts for the whole world to hear. Apparently, as a result of a fallout between the two, Loose Cannon was now openly disrespecting Big U any opportunity that he had. But this wasn't just a spontaneous switching of sides. In actual fact, it seemed that Big U's downfall was orchestrated by one man, a former friend turned mortal enemy named Wack 100, who after befriending Big U's former enforcer Loose Cannon would discover a shocking revelation that Big U might have been involved in a sloppy murder in Las Vegas, with Wack ultimately conspiring to drip feed the information to the public and Big U himself in order to accelerate the downfall of his former friend turned enemy. But Wack 100 couldn't take all the credit, as the reality is the downfall of Big U was seemingly his own doing, as the 2025 criminal complaint would reveal just how dark and badly executed this alleged murder was. But despite this, it would be 4 years before anyone would learn the details, and by then it would be far too late for Big U to escape these serious charges. The extortion empire of the Big U enterprise was apparently just the tip of the iceberg when it came to the crimes committed by the alleged leader of the Rolllin 60's. The 2025 criminal complaint would shockingly allege that Big U kidnapped and murdered a victim named as RW in response to disrespect from that individual, but the truth of that story is much darker than anyone could have possibly imagined. The young man in question was named Rayshawn Williams, a young football player who had personally been coached by Big U and was a close friend of his son, who went on to play for the LA Chargers in the NFL. Highlights of Rayshawn playing had circulated online when he was still a teen. Previously touted as a talented player to watch, his career was slowed by a knee injury that had him off the field for a whole season. He was apparently being courted by UCLA until his injury, and by 2018, he would officially no longer be on the team. Big U had reportedly not only coached Rayshawn in football growing up, but Rayshawn actually lived with Big U and his family for a brief period during high school, with Big U actually kicking him out after he stole a chain from his son and wore it to school. But despite the apparent brief fallout, Big U was allegedly still playing a supportive role in Rayshawn's life as he tried to find another career path following his football injury, and it would seem that he decided to give music a try. Rapping under the name Young Judah, from May 2020, he would tease his upcoming musical debut in the form of an EP called Golden Dreams, which dropped in June 2020. Clearly an aspirational title, Rayshawn had high hopes for his rap career, continuing to tease his project as months went by. Unfortunately, his music wasn't really hitting. He would post snippets of songs that he had made on his IG, and things weren't exactly industry ready. In one song, he called himself Ray Hustle, ironic reference to Big U's other murdered protege, Nipsey Hustle. As time went on, Rayshawn would post more snippets, and he seemed to be improving as a rapper song by song, even turning on the auto-tune and having a crack at making more emotional pain music. Despite not having success off music yet, Rayshawn was already living the high life, posting pictures of himself chilling in luxury properties. Curiously, he would make one post with a caption saying that some people think that he's rude. Anyway, he continued to experiment, dropping more snippets of music that he'd been working on, and showing himself in Las Vegas on numerous trips throughout 2020. But apparently behind the scenes, there was some kind of disagreement between Rayshawn and Big U, who had been apparently trying to help him get his music career going. Big U was apparently bankrolling Rayshawn's trips to a studio in Las Vegas to record music, but he was seemingly using his time in the wrong kind of ways. According to the criminal complaint, On January the 20th, 2021, Rayshawn allegedly recorded a diss song where he seemed to suggest that someone would get shot in the face over money, with feds making the suggestion that he was actually dissing Big U. It being believed that there was a dispute over Rayshawn wasting Big U's studio time and not making the most of the time that he had been gifted, with reports from another person involved in organizing the studio sessions that Rayshawn had been skipping out and having too much fun during a week where he was supposed to be making a song a day. The day after the alleged diss song, Rayshawn releases a different song as a snippet to his Instagram where he indeed seems to be dissing someone, rapping about how he doesn't need to hate someone he's disagreeing with, but he wishes them the best, and dismissing any criticism that they've made, saying how he doesn't hear it and they should say it with their chest, ending with a sly lyric saying that he's supporting his friends by buying all their merch, and dissing someone for being a snitch and saying how they would get killed for that. It's unclear if any of these lyrics were indeed intended as a sneak diss towards Big U, as he wasn't mentioned specifically. However, the Instagram post that included this song, eerily, was the only one on his page that Big U had liked publicly. It's highly possible that he perceived this as disrespect and was letting Rayshawn know that he had his eye on him. According to the criminal complaint, it's alleged that 2 days later, on January the 21st, interestingly, this being Big U's daughter's birthday, Big U and Vay, aka Robinson, drove from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, arriving at the studio unexpectedly, causing the studio security to be confused and ask a lot of questions. According to the later full indictment, Big U had gone there to confront Rayshawn about his lack of production during the allotted studio time, then later going to Rayshawn's Airbnb at 2 a.m. to ask him why he hadn't been at the studio the previous day and calling him out for disrespecting the Big U enterprise. The next day, on January the 24th, and into the night of the 25th, Big U was at a recording studio with Rayshawn and somebody else known only as Witness 2. Big U arrived at the studio around 7:04 p.m., with Rayshawn arriving an hour or two later, recording a song from 11 p.m. until midnight, but clearly, whatever Rayshawn recorded or said didn't quite cut it for Big U, and things were about to get dark. Then, at 12:37 a.m., Big U left the studio, apparently driving Rayshawn back to his Airbnb. During this journey, at 12:58 a.m., Big U's phones were turned off. Interestingly, in a 2021 Drink Champs interview, Big U had mentioned how phone data makes it impossible to get away with crimes these days.
The unique thing is, because of the way we are right now, we'll never have these stories. Because the camera ain't gonna let it, the one on the street corner. The phone ain't gonna let it, the one that's telling everything. And it's just these stories will become what the mafia stories were.
But anyway, perhaps some kind of conversation on that ride between Rayshawn and Big U took a bad turn, leading U to make a decision to do something extreme. By 1:13 a.m., Big U had pulled up to the spot where Rayshawn was staying, with Rayshawn spending 10 minutes gathering his belongings and returning to the car with a suitcase. Despite being scheduled to stay at the Airbnb another day, based on the details in the paperwork, Big U would drive with Rayshawn to a location on the I-15 highway. Allegedly, it was here that he would pull off the road, shooting Rayshawn dead and dragging his body into a remote spot off the highway into the desert of Las Vegas near a landfill, with the later indictment showing an image of the crime scene where the body had been found with multiple gunshot wounds to the head. Investigators did test drives to prove that the drive to the location where the body was found matched the amount of time that it would have taken from the car departing from Rayshawn's B&B and then from the murder location to where Big U's phone was turned back on, and started reporting location data once again, which was around 2:15 a.m. Within an hour of turning his phone back on, Big U returned to the recording studio covered in sweat, telling those there he had just been to the gym. Interestingly, days later, Big U demanded the removal of all surveillance and recording equipment and evidence from the studio after he left, with detectives believing that the footage would have shown an altercation between Big U and Rayshawn that took place before the murder. In the early hours of the morning after the murder, according to the paperwork, Big U would leave Las Vegas for Los Angeles, with North Las Vegas Police Department agents discovering the body in the desert near the Apex landfill the following morning, with cops immediately theorizing that the murder had taken place right at the side of the I-15 roadway based on their discovery of blood and drag marks leading to where the body was found. A News 3 Las Vegas article would immediately report the news, telling the public how the police had received a call from a member of the public who found a body laying in a deserted area near Las Vegas and Clark Peterson Boulevard near the Apex. This is a barren and open desert space, which while deserted, doesn't seem like a place a body would be hard to miss out in the open in the daytime, but it's likely that Big U drove off this unmarked verge on the edge of the I-15 in the darkness of night, thinking that this would be a remote place to drag and leave the body, perhaps not realizing that this was right next to quite literally the largest and busiest landfill in the entire world, with Big U arriving back in Los Angeles an hour after the body was found in the Vegas desert. NLVPD would break the tragic news to Rayshawn's mother, who provided more backstory, telling them that Big U and Rayshawn were close and how he would usually call his mother weekly, but after the murder, the calls abruptly stopped, and Rayshawn's mother had apparently called Big U to confront him after the disappearance of her son, with Big U denying that he'd seen or heard from him. Big U even tried to cover his tracks by replying to an Instagram DM from Rayshawn the day after the murder, but nothing happened for 2 years, it would seem. And what's really fascinating is that Big U was right back to business after this alleged incident, arriving back to Los Angeles and beginning to promote his upcoming documentary, Hip Hop Uncovered, due to be released in a matter of weeks on FX. Meanwhile, the Crenshaw High football Instagram page would announce the death of their former wide receiver Rayshawn Williams. His teammates would pay tribute to him in their Twitters, but curiously, Big U didn't once acknowledge the death of this young man who had been so close to him and his family for years. Weirdly, Big U never acknowledged this death of someone so close to him, but when Gilly's son Cheese was killed, he made a heartfelt post on the Unique Music account pleading, "Why are we losing our sons to the streets?" But then again, this could have been trolling, as Big U and the 60s were rumored to have robbed Gilly and his son years earlier, and U would post other tributes to other deceased youngsters that his friends had lost, but curiously, nothing about Rayshawn. But as the days went on, Big U would continue to promote his upcoming FX documentary. He was enjoying his newfound fame, posting a clip of himself getting lint rolled by the wardrobe department, showing the world that he was now a superstar 60.
You did it before. Go ahead. I'm a hug you. They're about to put a Sephora in the 60s. Over here. Get over here.
On February the 8th, he would post a cryptic message saying that nobody cares about the truth when the lie is more entertaining. After this, Big U would take to Instagram again to celebrate a billboard for his show placed on Sunset Boulevard, even pulling up to the scene to make a video saying that people are saying that they should stay away from Big U.
Trick. What? They say stay away from Big U, cuz.
They lying, cause look, Big U got us on the billboard on Sunset.
Sunset.
He on Sunset.
You see that? All up in that mic, you see that motherfucker say,
Hey!
Big U was laughing at his haters and seemingly sneaking a shot at Nipsey Hustle, saying that the marathon continues.
The motherfucking marathon continues, goddammit.
This was the opposite of laying low. Big U was soaking up the spotlight despite allegedly killing a close family friend less than a month before this. And the spotlight would shine brighter when eventually Hip Hop Uncovered would drop on February the 12th, 2021. Big U would tease part of the upcoming show, posting a clip where Wiz Khalifa described him as the Godfather and claiming that you can't do anything in rap without Big U being consulted.
If I was to describe Big U's role in rap, he would definitely be the Godfather. Can't do nothing without consulting him. He's the only guy who does move how he moves.
He was involved with Nipsey. He had a relationship with Death Row. People from certain neighborhoods' names would ring bells, and his name was ringing a lot of bells.
U was at the top of the game within just weeks of this alleged murder, and now his story was being broadcast to millions of people on television. Hip Hop Uncovered would break down the life story of Big U in selective detail. It would include interesting tidbits, like a segment where he said that if he doesn't answer the phone, it can mean somebody dies.
People don't understand that sometimes if I don't answer the phone, it could be death for somebody else.
One of Big U's closest confidants and future co-defendant Bearclaw would even congratulate him on Instagram with a caption saying, "When you sit down and put your mind to it, anything is possible." But clearly behind the scenes, there was pressure on Big U. He would make a post at the start of March, seemingly angry about people coming to him with negative questions and saying that he wants people to keep him out of silly stuff, notably with the comments turned off. He'd post more cryptic statements to Instagram, like this one that says that he respects any man who can heal a heart that he didn't break and raise a child that he didn't make. Perhaps a coded admission of failure, alluding to efforts to help Rayshawn with his football coaching and a rap career that ultimately he didn't have the patience to complete. The later criminal complaint would recount a recorded conversation where Big U allegedly seemed to allude to killing a kid who disrespected him and calling out people who thought he was retired. Ultimately, Big U might have just made the biggest mistake of his life, but it would be years before people truly found out all the sordid details of this deadly case. And in those years, not only did more extortion and pressing take place, but the chaos of LA streets would find its way to the podcast world, culminating in a dramatic downfall as several high-profile social media figures slowly pieced together the details of this murder and aired it out on podcasts for the whole world to hear, until finally the Fed stepped in and brought things to an explosive end. Criminal gangs have historically abided by the principle of omerta, a code of silence. But that was a long time before things like drill music or podcasts became a thing. Nowadays, besides drill rappers like King Von and Lil Durk, who use real-life crimes in their music as an important part of building their brands, there's a whole lineup of podcasts focused on hip-hop culture that blur the lines between entertainment and real gang politics. The likes of DJ Vlad interviewing the most infamous rappers, athletes, gangsters, mobsters, and mafiosos, and most importantly, the No Jumper podcast, which made stars of gang-affiliated larger-than-life personalities like Crip Mac and 4Extra. One of the most infamous hosts of No Jumper in recent years is Rolllin 60's member Brick Baby. His crazy stories from the streets of LA all the way to Atlanta, where he tapped in with some of the most famous rappers and trappers in America, made him one of LA's most beloved podcasters. Brick Baby had a years-long come-up as a podcaster on No Jumper, while also juggling his rap career and dropping numerous songs and music videos, some of which I made cameos in, having become friendly with Brick during appearances on the No Jumper podcast myself. But according to the criminal complaint, before Brick Baby went all in on podcasting, broadcasting, he was still connected to street activity. The criminal complaint would paint the picture of Brick Baby still ripping and running in the streets of LA and paying percentages of robberies he was involved in directly to Big U. However, this wasn't the only suspicious street activity that would come back to haunt Brick during his podcast arc. He was also connected to the ambush on rapper Quando Rondo in August of 2022. Quando, who had $1 million bounty on his head after Chicago drill rapper King Von was shot dead in a fight with Quando's entourage, would visit Los Angeles and be ambushed by masked shooters who had flown all the way from Chicago to kill Quando on behalf of Lil Durk, allegedly. But things went wrong, and they ended up killing his cousin Lil Pab, real name Savia Robinson, by mistake. But to make matters much worse and more complicated, Brick Baby and Big U's names were brought up into the mix immediately. Quando's tragic situation was allegedly the culmination of a multi-year back and forth with Big U himself, as Quando Rondo also reps the Rolllin 60's Crips, but is part of a set that branched off in his native city of Savannah, Georgia. This means that he's not a direct member of LA's Rolllin 60's Crips, but there's a connection, and as a result, he seemed to have a relationship with Big U and always looked up to him. As mentioned, besides Big U allegedly using his charity as an extortion vehicle, he would more famously be a big proponent of the idea of checking in. Interestingly, Quando had numerous interactions with Big U in the lead up to this tragic incident that took his cousin's life. Big U has claimed on The Breakfast Club that Quando actually reached out to him for protection and suggested that despite claiming Rolllin 60's, Quando had never showed him love until he began having problems with Lil Durk after King Von's death.
Like Quando Rondo, I just showed envy. Like, you can't call me now. You can't call me when the fire hot. You didn't with me before that. You know what I mean? You had my number. You could have called me. You could have did all that.
This elicited a response from Quando, who denied ever calling Big U for protection, instead saying that he was only asking how he could give back to his community.
Once called nobody, no on planet Earth for no protection. Because I don't fear no man. Why would I wait to get us? Anybody that I ever called, I call on some like, how can I help? How can I do this? How can I do that? I never called no person on planet Earth for protection.
Big U would address Quando and hint towards extortion, repeatedly saying that unless there's a donation for his organization, he's not interested.
Yeah. So I'm addressing this little thing with young nephew with Quando. First of all, I never talked to Quando. You know, it ain't nothing but love with Quando. Nephew reaching out to do something for the kids, definitely do that. Because I never talked to him. He just asked me if somebody reached out. I just feel like I know cuz and I've been knowing him. And I never heard from him after we had a conversation maybe a year and a half ago. No, maybe 2 years ago. And then, so when he called me, I'm only on positive vibes. I'm going to pull up on cuz or he can pull up on me.
A month later, Big U would appear on No Jumper in an interview where he seemingly apologized to Quando and indicated that there had been a miscommunication.
These beefs just sort of spiral out of control, whereas it might have been more isolated.
I can't understand it because somebody got to be a man at some point and say they was wrong. Like as far as Quando Rondo. I was wrong for saying it, but he was wrong for not reaching to his homeboy. And then on the same line that I reached out to you, you reached back out to me on it. You know what I'm saying? But I apologize to my homeboy. You know what I'm saying?
It seemed that within a month of this back and forth, dues had been paid, and Quando would appear as the first guest on Big U's ominously titled Checking In podcast. Big U would start the podcast off by welcoming Quando to LA.
Checking in with my young fella, Quando. Yeah, man. What's up, young fella? Is you in California, huh?
You did.
You see? You know what I'm saying? Man, I'm glad to have you, man.
They would seemingly patch over their past feud by exchanging mutual apologies, with Big U elaborating that his nephew had vouched for Quando, who had told Big U that he did Quando wrong.
When I told him, as a man, my little homie called me, and he told me, Unc, you was wrong. But I'm going to say I was wrong, too, because you said I was wrong. You know what I mean? And as a man, like I told them, I know when I'm apologize, because I'm supposed to be a bigger person. You know what I mean?
Big U would also specify that he had never asked for any money from Quando for checking in, explaining that their dispute was purely over a misunderstanding.
Every city I go to, I check in with somebody, bro. And that's what it's about. Because people think that I'm a bully and I cancel money, I get money. I ain't never asked you for not one dime. Not one dime.
Big U would also explain the process of checking in with the Rolllin 60's, explaining exactly what a rapper coming to LA should expect.
Because you might check in with me. I'm going to tell you what clubs to go to and what clubs not to go to. I'm going to tell you where the bad is, and I'm going to tell you where the is. I'm going to tell you who got the good, how to get the sack. You got dudes come out all the time, buy a sack, and get robbed. They ain't dealing with the right people.
What now seems rather ironic, Quando would immediately join in on praising the process of checking in, saying how people have completely misunderstood what it means.
Hopefully this interview opened everybody's eyes on the check-in part. Like, that's not on nothing negative.
However, a year later, Quando Rondo would visit LA again, where according to the OTF indictment, Chicago rapper Lil Durk and his team got word from an unnamed source in LA, known in the indictment as co-conspirator number 4, that Quando was indeed staying in the city. They would get his location and follow him around, eventually ambushing him at a gas station where his cousin Lil Pab was killed. Now, interestingly, speculation circulated that the Rolllin 60's were the ones who tipped off the Chicago hit squad to Quando's location, with a particular accusation that Brick Baby was the one responsible due to him apparently being the Rolllin 60's member with the closest ties to Lil Durk. Brick would also openly claim to not like Quando in an August 2021 No Jumper interview, calling him out for claiming Rolling 60's and trying to get Big U and the LA Crips to try and squash his beef with Lil Durk and the Black Disciples, saying that he needs to check in every time he comes to LA.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. And then you claiming it, you ain't providing for this. Come on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like Quando Rondo.
You're not fucking him.
Boy, stop.
What is it?
Boy,
Explain.
stop it. Don't come to the 60's and want to provide now that bro them on your ass. You get what I'm saying? Like we ain't doing that.
Yeah.
At all. We not doing none of that.
Well, that's gotta be weird for you because you've Dirk so much.
It ain't weird for me.
Yeah.
It ain't weird for me at all. Just saying, you know what I'm saying? You're not from Rolling 60's.
Oh, really?
You're not from LA Rolling 60's. You're not from Rolling 60's.
Right.
On the hood. We didn't make that call. But you didn't put that on the board like you finna make this play. On the hood. We didn't make that call.
But didn't Big U and him kind of squash shit at a certain point, I feel
You
like?
gotta come talk to the streets.
Big U's a little removed from a lot of it.
No, he is the streets. So
Right.
You gotta come talk to the people who feet in the streets. You gotta come clear yourself on both angles.
Brick would be seen in the studio with Lil Durk in the months before the shooting, and days after the murder of Lil Pab, Brick Baby would post on social media telling Quando he's a fake Crip for not checking in with him and giving them money and guns.
From out of town. And you banging the hood from California. You're an imitation gangbanger if you do not check in. If you do not make sure your hood is funded. You don't make sure your hood got blicks. If you don't make sure your hood got sticks and the kids is eating over there. A couple put you down with the play family is straight. You're an imitation because a motherfucker don't deal with the same enemies we deal with in LA.
However, Brick Baby would then bizarrely go on to do a series of interviews speaking on the situation directly. He would tell Cam Capone News that Quando was smart to try and squash the beef with Big U.
But it was a great move for him, like to go check in with the big dog, because that's our big dog. So you trying to get him to soften up the people that's around your age and, you know what I'm saying, still outside. He's still outside too, but you get what I'm saying, to soften it up for us.
Around a month after the shooting, Brick Baby would be seen on social media flexing bundles of cash and releasing a new song with OTF artist C3, a track called Brick Lato, a track which heard C3 rapping that people claiming 60's will see the real 60's getting at them and that someone is dropping their location so the ops can pull up. This was followed with songs like the April 2023 banger Not Enough, where Brick raps how his gang received over $1 million for their last body. Million, of course, being the exact number that Lil Durk had allegedly put on Quando's head. However, for the record, no real proof has ever surfaced definitively showing that Brick had any part in what happened to Quando, and I was quite convinced that Brick was simply making the most of this unsubstantiated rumor just to promote his rap career. But as time went on, more hints would be dropped about the 60's being involved in the incident. Particularly telling was Quando denouncing his Rolllin 60's neighborhood Crip membership in an online post where Quando says that he's no longer part of the gang and that he's laying his blue bandana down, specifically mentioning how it makes no sense for him to be part of the Rolllin 60 neighborhood Crips since they mess with his opposition, essentially inferring that someone from the LA Rolllin 60's had set him up to get shot out in LA on behalf of Lil Durk, with Quando saying that it doesn't take rocket science to see what's going on, and ending the message by saying that he's now just going to focus on his family and loved ones. Big U's nephew, Tiny Draws, reacted to Quando's post, pointing out that this essentially happened to Quando because he failed to show respect to the Rolllin 60's in LA, pointing out that Quando refused to check in, so they didn't check out and look out for him, as well as saying that there's only one way out of the gang, seemingly alluding to Quando getting killed, and saying that if he had shown the 60's love like he shows love to people like NBA Youngboy, then maybe things might have been different, claiming that Quando was disloyal and that the streets don't play fair. After the LA assassination attempt on Quando that claimed his cousin's life, Big U appeared on social media, seemingly taking a dig at Quando by saying that if he took a loss, he wouldn't leave his gang behind, and there would be no crying from him.
Imagine all the dudes, and when the storm came, they folded their tent, they went inside, or they shut down. No, they ain't what no real do. When it get hard for me, I get quiet and I get still because I need to hear all the doors is open. I said I welcome the challenge. When it get hard, I welcome it. I look for it.
Later on, Big U appeared in a video seemingly celebrating a deal with FX relating to that 2021 show Hip Hop Uncovered, telling the audience that he's celebrating while smoking a cigar to the camera.
It's really just a celebration. I don't drink. I got this as a gift from a production company for the success we had with Hip Hop Uncovered. Just thought I'd kick it with y'all and chop it up. I don't smoke, but I do get to celebrate. Good things do happen to good people.
Big U would continue to smoke, telling viewers that he's been finishing projects for years and having a celebratory smoke for a reason that he can't tell people about, as well as congratulating young men who have completed projects with him, leading to speculation that he was speaking with a double meaning.
I heard somebody said the problem with Big U is he don't complete nothing. I've been completing these projects for years. It's all smoke. But this here, I'm just going to throw this up on the story. It's just a little celebration and only we know what it's about. Congratulations to the successful things I have done with these young men and young women alike.
Salute to my brother Roscoe for the donation to the war chest. Revolutions of Real Life. Absolutely appreciate the love, family. Salute. Say salute, King. Salute, family. Appreciate you helping me keep the lights on.
It's just a celebration. Y'all would probably ask what, but I ain't gonna say it.
But it was Brick Baby that would have people really concerned when he would outright say in a No Jumper interview with Poetic Flacco that people can no longer tell Lil Durk that he has to slide for Von because of the murder of Quando's cousin, Lil Pab.
He did something. Oh, slide for him. Oh, you a oh, yeah.
Slide for Von, right? Yeah.
They say you can't say that no more.
Why? Oh, yeah, because of... no. Like, who died?
You can't say that no more.
Oh, because of FBG Cash? Or who?
Nah, because Lil Pab.
Oh!
Brick would go on to say that Quando has to lay in the bed that he made by not showing love to the Rolllin 60's in LA.
You should have been doing the right thing from off the rip. That's what they say. The bed, you gonna lay in the bed that you make.
Also note that Quando was done for beefing with Durk, who has $20 to $30 million to his name.
That just signed the deal for like 20-30 million, Durk, right?
Yes.
Who the f want to beef with Cuz for you? Too much money, man. You get what I'm saying? Like, listen, man.
Don't beef with rich people.
Don't beef with rich people, man. Unless you're gonna slide, and you don't need to say nothing out loud.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, point blank, period. Don't put that bag of thing on your head.
These bold comments caused a shock on Twitter from other apparent Rolllin 60's members, and Brick Baby would later deny that his comments were self-snitching, reaffirming that he had nothing to do with the shooting and was just parroting what was already being said on the internet.
Like I said, I already knew. I was out of town when it happened. The police, first of all, Trap Lord Ross and all these other detectives, and I'm not, shout out Trap Lord Ross though, because he ain't doing nothing but just making this content. You know what I'm saying? If you were that in public to get caught doing a murder to where he can put it together without being a police, I put in this song with me and C3 that was going to get released a month before it happened, and it say some like it was some viral like the video went kind of crazy. I think he said something, we had a real 60s get at you or something like that, but we recorded this damn near 6-7 months before this anyway. So but it was somebody OTF, and then Durk was in the video. I was flashing money and all that. Name one person that's gonna give, where's the million at?
The rumor was that there was $1 million on Quando Rondo's head, and that as a result that there's a lyric that Brick has on another song where he says,
we charge a quarter for a pack of 100's not enough. And I said the last start the pack,
we got $1 million plus.
Yeah, because on the internet they were saying that I took 100,000 from Durk and I signed the OTF and I had to do a hit for it. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, man, we charge a quarter for a pack. Like, you can't pay me 100,000 to kill nobody. Like, I'm charging $1 million plus. You know how much it costs for to get out of jail after a murder?
I'm really popping it.
Ultimately, despite the bombshell indictment of Lil Durk and a handful of other alleged co-conspirators for murder for hire in October 2024, it still appears that Brick was not officially involved, and he's not been formally charged in relation to this incident. But this was a major incidence of street activity surfacing on a podcast for all to see, and the eventual criminal complaint against Big U would indeed reference what happened to Quando directly, with a wiretapped conversation observing Big U saying what happened to Quando was a direct result of not checking in. So all of this was going on behind the scenes, but at the same time, the likes of Brick Baby and Loose Cannon were jumping in podcast studios, letting small details slip. However, if there was one person who was truly a danger to Big U with a microphone in front of him, it would be Wack 100. Another infamous gang-related figure in LA politics, Big U always had a strange relationship with Wack 100, who was arguably the red bandana-rocking Pyru counterpart to Big U's blue rag-rocking Crip persona. Both OG status LA street legends with a formidable reputation in the streets and the industry, Wack 100 and Big U have had some disagreements in the past, like in 2019, when a leaked audio would have Wack implying that Eric Holder did what he was supposed to do as a gangster.
It's a harsh reality, but we stepping out of civilization into the jungle of gangbanging. Because the alleged gunman, right? When it comes to the rules of engagement of gangbanging, he did what he was supposed to do when another gangbanger calls you a or a snitch. You're supposed to handle your business. And can't nobody say that's wrong.
Given what Nipsey was reportedly accusing him of, this would cause some controversy in the media, as many would see Wack to be defending Holder's actions and excusing Nipsey's murder. Big U would then seemingly have a conversation with Wack 100 behind the scenes, after which Wack would post what appeared to be an apology on his social media. Not long after, Wack and his artist Blueface would appear on the No Jumper podcast, where Wack would provide more context to his earlier comments.
He puts it out there like I said some horrible, crazy, right?
Right.
But he's playing the subscriber follow game. You notice he's been saying, come subscribe, and I'm gonna let it out. It's been like 2-3 weeks of subscribe, and he's gonna let it out. So what I did was call Reggie Rice platform, and just everything I said to Reggie.
Right.
So now what you gonna put out? Listen, I'm not a gang banger anymore. I haven't gang banged in like over 20 years, meaning I haven't woke up and hated the Crip or seen a dude in blue and wanted to do something to him because I thought he was a Crip.
Really?
Right? That's gang banging, right? So I'm from where I'm from. That's gonna always be that, right? So I understand gang culture. Gang culture is different from the religious culture, which is different from, the Jewish culture. Every culture is different. And in that jungle, the rules change. Now, are the rules irrational? Damn right. Are they right? Probably not. But these are the rules of this jungle. And it's been like that 50, 60 years, right? In this situation, you have a rapper and you have a dude that's a straight, authentic gang member. His whole life are these blocks. It's all he know. And in the culture of gang banging, when you call a motherfucker a snitch, when you call somebody these things in this jungle, is no different than you being a football player and going on the field without your helmet on. You're gonna get hit.
However, also giving Big U props for starting Nipsey's career. He would also say that the love that Nipsey was getting after his death was fake, and that Nipsey wasn't getting praise like that or being called a legend while he was still alive, and that he objectively was not a legend during his life based on the numbers.
Right.
If it wasn't for Big U, y'all wouldn't know the Nipsey Hustle of today. So what I'm saying is you got a man who died with 1 million followers and no radio hit and no platinum plaques. But because everybody started talking like it was a goddamn Popeye's chicken sandwich, everybody jumped on the bandwagon.
Right.
And now he didn't win 10, 20 times platinum. The radio is spinning his song. Come on, bro. How long did they spin his song?
Right.
All day, every hour. Nipsey had like 2-3 songs I felt should have went. Last time I checked, like it was great records. Right. Bullets ain't got no name. Great records.
Yeah.
Why and this rumor about him being independent, that's some bullshit. Like, look, it's idiots. If you scroll down to the iTunes, it says Atlantic Records. Right.
I'm gonna sit here.
So now he has a machine behind him. So where was all these fans like Blueface? He got platinum plaques. Oh, no. You know why he got platinum plaques? Because his fans followed him. They supported him. They streamed, they download, things of that nature. Nipsey's never been on a world tour. Why? He did not die an A-list artist. That's real. Y'all talking about he was a legend. If he was a legend, why y'all didn't treat him like that while he was here?
Adam would also ask Wack about his phone call with Big U, with Wack responding by lashing out against people who were attacking Big U after Nipsey's death with the conspiracies about him being involved, before giving Big U more praise about his role in Nipsey's career.
What was the phone call with Big U like after those headlines started popping up about that leaked audio?
Oh, we always talk about our white kids, what business ventures we doing next, and things of that nature. Like, we don't have that type of conversation about, they even attacked him. That was a weird, they last thing was Big U was honoring him at one of his events. So people make it look like Big U and Nipsey was enemies, all conspiracies and all this crazy.
Right.
And the world wouldn't know who Nipsey Hustle was and the magnitude that he was in if it wasn't for Big U.
Right.
During 2020, Wack and Big U would do several major podcasts together, and the two were seemingly on cordial terms. Unfortunately, the following year, there was seemingly starting to be some more serious disagreements, with Big U implying on his Checking In podcast how he was disagreeing with a lot of things that Wack had been doing lately.
Yeah, I just like to call this guy from Wack. You know what I mean? I disagree with a lot of things he's doing right now. When you get to the point where I can't reach out and talk to you and try to correct you, like, look, we're trying to go on this path, I got to remove myself. I don't mind being chastised. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm bigger than the program. And so what people don't understand is that sometimes people can get to that point.
Meanwhile, Loose Cannon, who was still at this point cool with Big U, would release a diss song to Wack in September 2021 titled Cookout, aka Wack, I Know You're Saying Talking, as well as dissing Wack and calling him a rat on his YouTube channel whilst walking around Wack's old stomping grounds in Pacoima and saying that Big U runs the West.
So it's like, Wack, it's like you do all this internet thugging and acting like you just so turned up, putting it on Paru this, Paru that. Nobody's seen you do nothing. You beat up a kid that was don't fit in Miami. What's that name? Stitches. Like, bro, you did some bus rash and then you acting like you got clout. Then you paid $2 to act like they KKK, but it was construction workers and you paid them $150. All that clout chasing don't equal up to real, bro. We on real time. Like, you talking about let's get down. You don't want to get down with the low, nigga. And you could put that on Paru. I bet you on any dollar. You don't want to get down with the low. No, you staring death in his eyes. That's why you want to run with some cowards. Oh, let me call Big U. Let me do this. He don't with you. He's a. He don't with rats. He don't with rat lovers. He don't doing police.
As Luce would explain in a podcast at the time, his beef with Wack started from the producer Marley Marl allegedly scamming $50K from Luce that was meant to go towards getting a feature from the rapper Offset. This led to Luce allegedly beating Mally up and filming the confrontation. This would lead to Wack, who's Mally's friend, to have a problem with Luce, which would then escalate into a full-blown beef.
Yeah, so when I did that, Wack 100 was going around talking about, yeah, we don't with Loose Cannon, he did this, the Marley Marl, cuz can't go back to his hood and stuff like that. I'm like, you in Palmdale, Lancaster ass, like, come on, cuz, like, I'm in the hood every day. Like, bro, what you talking about?
In June 2022, Wack would appear on the Dub C and CJ Mack Show podcast, where CJ Mack would question Wack about all the enemies that he'd been making, with Wack responding that there's only one person who he wishes things could have been different with, and that's Big U.
It's probably only one person out of everything you've been seeing going on that I wish it could have been different.
Right. It's all good.
Right?
It's all good. Yeah.
And that's Big U.
Despite there clearly being some heavy tension between the two, Wack would show him a lot of love during the podcast, saying that he just can't see Big U as an enemy due to their past friendship.
Because I can't mentally see him as my enemy.
Right.
I don't think really in his heart, he ain't gonna let nothing happen to me. It's too deep. That's like, I couldn't face his wife or his children.
Yeah.
Right, knowing I was played a part in anything that had anything, that's just not happening.
But Big U would respond back, saying that he's accepting no apologies from people calling him out.
I don't really address a lot of said on the internet, but I'm gonna tell y'all this, I'm gonna address this, and I'm gonna address this fast and quick. I heard about the little CJ Mack and Dub C interview with that guy. I don't accept no apology from no disrespect my name, disrespect my family, and call me on my name. I ain't cool with nothing. I ain't cool with that CJ Mack. I ain't cool with that Dub C. I ain't cool with none of that, man. And that's all I got to say on that.
Unfortunately for Wack, it seemed that behind the scenes things would reach a boiling point. On the 8th of July 2022, Wack's longtime artist The Game was performing at LA venue The Novo for the release of his Drillmatic album. At one point during the show, the crowd would go into a frenzy when Kanye walked out onto the stage, as Wack 100 could be seen to the side, ushering him onto the floor. Moments before, it seemed like a scuffle was taking place to the side of the stage where Wack and Kanye just emerged from, with some claiming that this was actually Wack being attacked by a group of Rolllin 60's, including Big U's nephew Tiny Draws. Once Kanye took to the stage, Wack would find refuge on that stage, standing in front of the crowd, where it wouldn't really be possible to continue the attack. Standing here, Wack would shake his head and whisper to another man on stage and gesture a finger to his head, seemingly indicating that there was some brain-dead activity going on. Wack, visibly sweating, seemed to gesture to someone next to him that he would be moving through the front of the stage when the performance ended. Wack would continue politicking to the person next to him and pointing around as if looking for the most effective exit route. He would scratch his chin and continue to look behind him where the issue seemed to have started. As Ye looked ready to leave the stage, Wack turned to clear his path, but in what seemed like an excruciating moment, The Game would then begin to give a heartfelt speech to Ye, stopping him in his tracks. Game would then perform his classic song Dreams that was produced by Kanye, while Wack would whisper something to Ye himself. All the while, Wack would continue to look at what was going on behind him. A drummer then seemed to give him advice on the best way to get out of there, while Wack continued to look over his shoulder. Then, Lil Wayne would take the stage as Wack remained to the side, seemingly leaning back to say something to somebody. Wack remained at the side, tucked away with Ye during Wayne's performance, looking back a lot, and eventually getting into a conversation with somebody up close. At one point, even Ye would start looking concerned, and it seemed to be at this point when they agreed to leave through the front of the stage, right through the crowd. At which point, Wack took Ye by the arm and led him behind the speaker, tucked away so nobody could see where they were going. Ready to step into the crowd, notably flanked by two members of his entourage, Wack would jump off the pretty high stage to get into the crowd floor and exit through this crowded area. Interestingly, someone wearing a blue cap would moments later step by and peer around the speaker to see if Wack was there. They were already gone. And seemingly after Wack had cleared the stage, during Big U's Artist Corrupts performance, Tiny Draws and other Rolllin 60's would get onto the stage themselves, performing a victory crip walk. It seemed that Wack wasn't able to completely shake loose, however, as he would apparently be caught up with in the parking lot by a group of Rolllin 60's members that included Big U himself and Tiny Draws. A confrontation would ensue, which one 60's member would seemingly film as Wack stepped out of his car with his family inside. This was posted by somebody who was there online with an incredibly self-incriminating caption saying Wack 100 is a mark, begging to lift that thing up, talking about my wife and kids are here, better act like it, Buster. Someone would also post a clip showing Wack standing at the door of his car with a caption saying, "The 60's is outside, dead homies." The 2025 criminal complaint would reveal that a day after the incident, Big U had actually recounted the incident in a tapped conversation, claiming to have been there personally, and claiming to have cornered Wack with 15 to 20 Rolllin 60 members, whilst Wack was on his own, leading to a standoff where Wack pulled a gun and pleaded with him not to attack. The Rolllin 60's members would then take to social media afterwards to brag about Big U's nephew Tiny Draws running Wack off the stage at the Novo and knocking him out.
Wack 100 got we not put on him. And talk this shit about this his town.
I'm just saying, cuz you talked about every set.
Hold on.
Every guy.
Hold on, y'all hear they verse.
Talked about every guy, every set. Got there, got shocked out, ran to the front and jumped off game stage. Slid out that ball. I'm officially a buster.
What's your version of it?
My version is, man, Tiny Draws put them bombs on that.
Hold on, we ain't doing no names now. We ain't doing no names.
He put them bombs, he got his mother head knocked up. Hey.
Y'all hear that?
Hey, listen, he gonna remember the Novo. We don't remember nothing else in this.
That, he gonna remember what?
That's all he gonna remember the Novo. That's all.
And remember who?
He gonna remember. Oh, he gonna remember not that he say names that he know he ain't supposed to.
Sick, so you don't talk about us.
A day later, Wack responded saying that he wasn't beaten up and showing his face and head had no injuries, as well as hinting that the video didn't show everything that was going on in the scene, calling the situation a swing and a square off.
Knock it off, bro. Knock it off. Knock it off. Weird, bro. I don't mind you telling the truth, but stop lying. Cut the lies out. 20 that ain't nothing. Knock it off. Stop lying.
For the record, Wack later gave his own version of the incident, where he suggested that in fact he had his own people, the same ones who left the stage with him, waiting in the sidelines, and going on to say that he'd been holding a gun so powerful that it made Big U and the 6-0s stop dead in their tracks and leave.
You might not want to admit this, you had your blower.
Okay.
You're begging him not to kill him.
Now stop right there.
Right?
Like Clubhouse. If I got my blower and you 20 deep with hoodies and I'm by myself, right? No begging to plead. That's when you really do it, right? What do you think my mentality was? For a dude not to approach me and you come to get me, and I jump out my car talking, what kind of conversation you think I'm having to make a dude say, don't nobody move?
I agree with you.
Now,
I feel like Blick talk. I feel
third
like
y'all out there?
You probably
Call
was on
third
that
now.
Soulja
I'm
Boy.
about to expose something nobody ever knew.
Oh.
So here it goes, right?
Ground zero.
I'm here. All of this is a parking lot, right? I'm here. They walk down. They walk right past my car. They didn't even see me. When I seen them get here, I jumped out. Y'all looking for me? Right? They stopped. They back was to me. Y'all, I had everything I had, I could have dealt with everything in front of me. Now, what they didn't know is I'm talking to my team. Big Unim is here. Now watch this. Look, watch this. Big Unim is here. I'm here out the car. Third, who was here, and here?
Taking notes?
Hold on. Third, who in that parking lot when I'm confronting these 20 Crips was 20 to 30 feet in every direction and they didn't know it? All my homies was behind them.
That's new information.
Listen.
That's new information, man.
So listen, check this out. So when I'm letting you know, there's no need to beg nothing. What did I tell that fool? My home, they still don't know to this day that all my homies was positioned 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock. They didn't even see him.
Despite Wack sharing his more explosive side of the story 3 years later, at the time, people were heavily clowning Wack as blogs would report that he was knocked down. Tiny Draws would later claim responsibility for the attack and claim that Wack was punched 3 times backstage and then ran onto the stage to avoid the 60s, as well as saying that they were aware that Wack had people with him in the parking lot and that none of them jumped out and did anything.
I'm talking about two total incidents. He ain't talking about the right. Whatever happened in that garage, I don't know. Bro, that time when he went in the garage, it's like about 10 minutes prior to Cuz jumping on stage. That's the crazy part.
That guy said he was taking Kanye to the car, but ran to the car his damn self.
And no, that wasn't. That just walked from taking Kanye to the stage, and he was walking on stage, and he was walking up the stairs. Corrupt was going downstairs to go perform. We so happened to run across Cuz as he walking up. It's like how the stairs curve.
Yeah.
As soon as he walked up, the got dope fiend and then got hit again. And one of the little security that was with him pump fake like he had a blower and took off running. They ran all the way back to the stage, chased down the hallway. They ran through their little security. Security was trying to stop us from getting on stage. He bow-guarded them. Them was already hopping down on stage, going to their little exit, whatever their little plan was. Wherever they got out from down there on the bottom of that little stage area is exactly what I ran to. When it got to his car. The show wasn't even over. DJ Quick didn't even perform yet. Gang didn't perform yet. He left like an hour or two before the show even over, and we stayed.
Yeah.
When he got to that parking garage, I can't tell you what happened. I wasn't there. But inside that, all that bullshit talking, it was 10 against 1, then 18 against 1, then 20 against 1. What incidents you talking about?
This would then lead to Tiny Draws jumping on Clubhouse with Wack to argue about the incident, with Tiny Draws arguably incriminating himself and threatening Wack and suggesting that Wack was lying since he wouldn't swear on his gang that the incident happened the way he said it did.
Put that on power.
Who is you though, bro?
This is Tiny Draws, Cash.
Well, what are we talking about?
We talk about what happened when you walked up them stairs. that on Pyru.
What happened?
You didn't get smacked in your head and you didn't get socked in your face.
Touch me.
Bro, put that on Pyru.
Why is you nigga? You want me to
put
send a
that on
picture?
Pyru?
Hey, you did you would no other.
Man, look, bro, put that on Pyru.
If you would know.
Man, look, I'm not, bro.
Your uncle bitch wrong got drew down on.
You put everything on Pyru. Put that on Pyru. When you came up them stairs, smacked you in your head. Put that on Pyru.
My head. Where you
put that on Pyru. Put that on Pyru. You didn't run on that stage.
Sent the picture with my eye circle like it was my eye.
Bro,
so was it my head or my eye? I put that on your raggedy ass mama.
Put that on Pyru, bro. That's all you gotta do.
Now, for the record, before Wack gets mad and tries to extort me, again, here's DJ Academics reacting to the whole situation at the time. Ack jokingly pointed out the seriousness of the Clubhouse conversation, adding that Wack seemed to be isolating himself similar to 6ix9ine, but isn't rolling with enough security.
Wack, the game had a concert. Do I believe the big Pyru Wack guy hit, man? Do I believe it or not? I've always said this. First of all, I do look at Wack as somebody with tremendous respect. I've watched him over the last couple of months, though. It's been interesting. I believe that Wack has completely isolated himself away from a lot of people that we would also consider either powerful or have some type of presence on, whether it's the West Coast or, you know, within the game. I ain't gonna lie to you. Some people have said that Wack is taking the 6ix9ine approach on some.
Ack would also add that Wack rarely gets confronted in person, but his comments about the Rolllin 60's Crips and Nipsey has got him into a beef with people who are really about that life.
Only thing that's on the table to protect is the artist's interest. And here's the thing. It don't seem like the game got beef with some of these people that Wack got beef with. For example, the dude who's arguing with Wack is saying, yo, after we punched on you, we partied with the game. They are involved with their own 60s. They seemingly feel away. I guess this Tiny Draws dude, because he said he put it on Neighborhood Crib. They feel a certain type of way about it.
Funnily enough, Brick Baby would also react to this incident too, claiming to have actually personally been there as part of that group of 60s trying to rush Wack, and making fun of Wack for escaping through the crowd and getting caught in the parking lot.
So there we were still with the cops. Dead hungry. It was that deja vu game after that. 6-0. Shout out nigga, Magic, and Black. What you gonna do? Weird. You camera. We had slapped out. Yeah, the message was clear. You 6-0. You got pieced up. You jumped off the side of the stage. Everybody know the backstage of the Novo. You know how you got up off the stage without the fans seeing you. You jumped in between the speakers. 6-0. Stop playing. Came out the back door. Seen it. Thought you saw a ghost.
The beef would continue after this incident. In September, Big U would seemingly throw more shots at Wack.
We ain't cutting no grass. We ain't cutting no grass.
No, we ain't cutting no grass.
Nightwood.
Know about that Thunderdog?
Somebody said they pull up. Oh.
Pull up?
No, it's a female.
Well, she can pull up too. She can come get a picture with the champ. Listen, man, I don't think y'all know this, bro. If anybody got anything to say about the big homie, cuz I'm on him. Like I told y'all before.
You better start acting like that.
Anybody got anything to say about the big homie, I'm on him.
You better start acting like that.
And then in October 2022, Wack would explain in an interview how his relationship with Big U had gone sour, saying that it had happened after Big U and Suge Knight had contacted Wack's label, suggesting that Big U should take over all of Wack's contracts, with Suge adding that Big U was the only person in LA that Wack was scared of.
Any situation that has something to do with me, whether I knew about it beforehand or not, he was also there for me. If that's what he needed to do. The fallout, once again, the two-headed snake, here comes Suge. Get a call from my label. He won. They said, man, we really want to tell you this, but Big U came down to see us. I'm not thinking nothing of it. He has already signed to him. So yeah, Suge on the phone. Oh, okay. Still not thinking nothing of it. Like, yeah, man, they were trying to convince me that I don't know how they thought this could work, even if I wanted to do it, to give your contracts to Big U, and she'll be saying something about, this is the only guy in Los Angeles that you're scared of. Those words never came out of Big U's mouth. I'm not going to put that. Came out of Suge's mouth. Oh, yeah? Well, what you tell him? So I told him, man, we've been doing business with this man. He's like family. I got to ask you to lead office. Great. So I'm kind of in the pickle.
I don't know how to feel about it. So I said, all right, I waited a week. I wanted to see if Big U was gonna call me and tell me this happened. Hey man, I went down there, Suge had me go down there, said he was gonna negotiate a deal. He started saying some crazy. I had no idea he was gonna say this. This is what I'm hoping to hear. After we got on here nothing, so I called him. Tell a few of my comrades around me at the time, they know who they are. So everybody know was real close to me at the time. What happened? I even had that call too. When we addressed and got everybody on the phone. I'm like, yo, bro, you really went to my label? And, well, no, I didn't say it. Yeah, and about you said it, but you heard it being said in favor of you against me. Nobody could have sent me to the office saying, yo, give Wack Big U's contracts. I'm hold up. Yo, for one, I didn't tell you to do that. Two, I'm not here for that. Three, that can't happen.
Big U would once again respond to Wack's claims, saying that he was straight up lying and that he had never even been at Wack's label office.
It come down to like the Wack situation. Is everything cool with that, or that ain't nothing?
No, you know it ain't cool. Now I can speak on that. I mean, you would ask me that.
Okay.
I only got one thing to say.
Yeah.
This lane talks about. This is the most beautiful thing. People just lie, and it kills me is how y'all allow people, not you, the people out there allow somebody to continue to tell lies. Let me address this one. I addressed the other one about developing options. I'm gonna address this one. I'm gonna give you this one.
Okay.
One, I have never been to Alan Grunblatt's office about a deal. I just heard about this one too. For Wack 100 company, because you can't do that. If you know the music business, and I'm pretty sure you do, in the podcast business, nobody can go get nobody's contract. That's the most ridiculous shit I ever heard.
Wack had been active on the social media platform Clubhouse pretty much since the beginning, when it became a semi-viral hit during the early COVID pandemic. And eventually, the app became Wack's favorite social media to use, and he would build a real business around the platform, arguably becoming synonymous with it and the main face of Clubhouse. But Clubhouse has always had a limited reach due to its strategy of being more exclusive than other social medias, giving it a much more underground vibe where news would be breaking for the first time, rather than a viral platform like Instagram where news reaches the masses. However, in 2023, Wack would start a weekly podcast with Adam 22 on the No Jumper platform, giving him a much bigger reach and a perfect outlet to attack Big U.
Any truth to the rumor that you put an alleged leader or a higher up from the other side? Is there any truth to the idea that you might have leaked their address or doxed them in some way?
Who address?
We'll edit this out. Big U?
I don't know his address offhand.
Okay. That's not true. Because somebody said that to me and I was like, wow, that seems over the line.
Well, you know, they hollering my address.
Oh, so it is true.
No, I don't know the direct address.
Okay.
But they
just to cap this off, what would have to happen between Big U and you to make
Listen, me and Big U know how to deal with each other, bro.
Right.
I don't even want to mention the man's name, but his little homies keep coming on there in the name of him, dissing the set, dissing my neighborhood, mentioning my family. Who's important? Big U?
Big U's not.
How's he an important figure in hip hop? When? Where?
I mean, he's someone who's got connection to like almost every rapper out of LA, right?
No, wait, let's correct that, bro. Like, y'all get that dude a little too much credit. A lot of those connections come from guys like Suge, guys like me, guys like a few of his homeboys over there, right? That put him with people. Let's be real. What has he done in hip hop?
Okay.
If my name was on paperwork, with contracts with the police, with police cell phones, they would hang me out to dry. If one of my homeboys was told me that I snitched on him with an alias and went on record as saying they'd hang me out to dry. If a female said that Wack baited her down, locked the door, and beat her while she was pregnant, they would hang me out to dry. Now, does he get the popularity vote of the streets? Yes.
See, this is what I was just saying.
Yes.
And of course, Big U wasn't the only one who Wack was making some explosive claims about. He would also famously claim that there was a gay tape starring none other than Nipsey Hustle, as he would explain on a DJ Vlad interview.
But to be fair, then you started kind of going hard at Nipsey. You said that there's a gay tape and like that.
Yo, Vlad, one thing you better not never do is question what come out of my mouth. You worth a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I got $5 million. You want to bet?
I know. I'm not going to bet you. I'm not going to bet you.
Okay, let's break it down to a plunk million. I got $1 million.
Okay.
Do you want to bet?
I'm not going to bet you.
Vlad, no. Because you said, right, and it didn't come out of my mouth. Hassan Campbell
recorded the conversation and released it.
That's where it came out.
It's only because of me that the damn tape still ain't came out today.
But then, during the Adam and Wack show, he would go further and say that Big U had wanted Wack to release the tape so that he could use it in a legal battle against Nipsey's estate, daring Big U to get out of line so that Wack can release proof of that.
Right, but guess who else seen him and wanted me to release him?
Who?
Big U.
Why?
Because Lord London wasn't cooperating with him, and he felt like he had some leeway with the baby mama that's starring in the videos.
Oh,
right?
Okay, so this is before her, right?
He can manage her. No, this is with her.
During his time with Lauren.
Yeah. So he can manage her, get her out the way, release that. Then in the flip side, he wanted me to turn around and go at the Nipsey Hustle estate and sue them for 30% of his contract. And he wanted me to make it look like I brought out his contract and now I'm going after the estate. I said, bro, check this out. I'm not releasing the tapes, right? I'm not doing that. Dude got kids. Me and Nip ain't had no problems. On Paru, we ain't had no problem. We used to talk on the phone, right? And you was just with this man every day in the studios and all this. Did you have this conversation about this 30% then? Don't wait till he die and then want to do that. That I want. It's all on my phone. I dare him to get out of line.
For the record, this tape has still never surfaced, and many people are still not convinced of its existence. Big U, on the other hand, was staying relatively quiet during this time, and at least on the surface, it seemed that he was doing good. And so was his family, with his son getting drafted into the NFL by the Los Angeles Chargers. But behind the scenes, things were about to go bad for Big U, because his trusted enforcer, Loose Cannon, had seemingly had a falling out with him. And coming into 2024, Loose Cannon's loose lips would begin to put Big U's dirt out there for the whole world to hear, as Loose would eventually begin rolling with Wack 100 and appearing with him on the No Jumper podcast. On the 21st of January 2024, No Jumper released an Adam and Wack show episode where Loose Cannon made numerous explosive claims about Big U, while himself engaging in some grade A self-snitching. Loose would reveal that part of the reason he stopped trusting Big U was because he noticed he was doing shady things, referring to the dispensary robbery mentioned in the indictment, saying that he found it weird that he was sent to do robbery missions and then would later be forced to give part of the proceeds back, as well as finding it suspicious that Big U would hand out guns to people and take note of the serial numbers. Most notably, Loose would claim that Big U called him, saying that Nipsey got shot, but when Loose called Nipsey, he answered and was fine. But then 30 minutes later, he would get the call that Nipsey had indeed been shot and killed. Adam would then press Loose about the story, telling him to convince the audience that this call actually happened, with Loose and his girl saying that the call can be seen in their upcoming reality TV show.
Like, the Nipsey story that you just told is so explosive.
Yo.
Speak to them on why they should believe you, because I guarantee that's a huge percentage of the conversation that's happening right now. Is people saying, I don't know a ton about you to like verify it, so and I don't have a dog in this fight.
Listen, everybody that knows me, LA and the world and stuff like that, know I'm not gonna just sit there and lie. Plus, it's on my TV show. The first episode or whatever on February 14th, I'm gonna see the FaceTime call with me and Big U, and then
wait.
The next.
I'm gonna say too much, y'all. Y'all gonna have to tune in. Y'all gonna have to tune into the show.
The following day, Brick Baby would be part of the No Jumper News show, and as a self-admitted Rolllin 60's member who seemingly was still fairly close with Big U, he would seemingly be mad at Loose for his wild stories about Big U, deciding to attack Loose Cannon back, accusing him of being the police, as well as questioning why Loose wouldn't mention to Nipsey that someone had just said he had been killed if the story really happened.
You act like you was coming to say that story to be for Nipsey because you sat there and lied. You was supposed to be exposing Big U or whoever you was talking about as being a rat, or informant, and all that. But you told every crime that you ever did alleged around this dude, nigga, on a camera. You come in here trying to expose, trying to show internal. You're not from the set. You never got put on the set. Nowhere around it. Because, and you talking about it gave you a drop on when Nipsey was about to get killed, and you didn't even mention it to Nipsey. What type of friend are you at this point, Shark?
But Brick wouldn't end it there. He would also attack Loose on his own YouTube and Instagram accounts, calling him the goofy of the year who's mad and lying because he can't come back to the hood, and that he's never even met Loose before, and that he's not from Rolllin 60's.
Loose Cannon got the Goofy of the Year award this year. Like, all that lying because you can't come back to the section. Come on, man. All the homies said you was a goof troop. Can't come back around. And on 6 I just did my research. Boom. I never heard where you said when you see me, you go, man, I've never met you. On the dead homies, I ain't never met you. You the same
just ran from my white boy in Vegas. Wood at the Red Rock Casino. 060, trying to use names as passes and all that. Tell cuz 060, cuz no bueno, cuz get right up out of there. You've never seen me, cuz 060, you don't know nothing about me, cuz 060, you didn't grow up with us or nothing. Who is Big Loose Cannon? We gonna start there. Who is Big Loose Cannon? 060.
Let's get this clear right now, man. Loose Cannon is not from 60s. There's too many stories talk about the boy Loose Cannon from 60s. Loose Cannon is not from 60s. Never been put on.
You want to be right now, nigga.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Don't be late.
Sometime later, Loose would allegedly play the call that Big U had made to him only moments before Nipsey's death.
Of course. Listen, I'm about to play it to you right now on loudspeaker because I had to plug in my speaker. Put up. You heard that, right? I'm gonna play it again.
Yeah, I heard that.
I'm gonna play it louder. So, like, bro, let's up right now. Put up. You heard it, right?
And you know what, brother? You ain't gonna rack my brain. You ain't gonna rack my brain on that. Here, bro, you know, but if you saying if you got belief behind that, man, that's your push, bro.
Now, many people have suggested that was simply a low-quality AI, but regardless of how flimsy Loose's claims were, Adam 22 and No Jumper would receive a cease and desist letter from Big U demanding they remove the video material of Loose and Wack discussing his possible involvement in Nipsey's murder. The No Jumper crew would discuss it during one of their episodes, during which Brick Baby would make fun of Loose's supposed recording, calling it out as a fake, after which Adam would make a prophetic prediction saying that he needs to see much more proof from Loose, but if Big U would end up getting arrested in like 6 months' time, that would certainly make Loose's statement seem a lot more credible. And as we know, Big U would indeed end up getting arrested, although this would happen almost exactly 1 year after Adam's prediction.
I feel like that episode was out for like 2 months, and I've been awaiting proof of what was said about the Big U thing. And I haven't really seen any proof. Now, maybe it just hasn't been brought to my attention. And for sure, okay, fast forward.
Did you hear the AI?
No. What was that?
Go ahead. Let you finish the fast forward.
What was the AI?
So he made an AI of, he was on live with Eddie Boy. And he made like an AI. He like, I'm finna play you a clip.
You think Loose Cannon made it?
Yeah, it said, hey, nephew, Nipsey dead. That's all it said.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah. He like played this on Clubhouse or something?
He played it on live. It was Instagram Live or something.
What?
Yeah.
Listen, Loose Cannon, I'm not saying you're a liar or anything. I'm just saying I need to see further proof. Now, let's say fast forward 6 months. Big U gets arrested. This is hypothetically for these acts.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, that interview becomes completely fair game and it's an important historical record. And like, we all have to look at it and say, oh my God, Loose Cannon, I'm so sorry. We all misjudged you. You're a genius. You were telling the truth the whole time.
However, many continue to cast doubt on Loose's claim about the phone call, as he would never end up showing video proof of it in his reality show The Baddie and the Beast, as he promised. For example, Street TV would release a long video breaking down all the different reasons why he thought the calls between Big U and Loose and Nipsey never happened, with perhaps the most outlandish fact presented in the video being that Loose has also told another version of the story, where it was allegedly Nipsey who called Loose shortly before his murder, supposedly to tell him that he wanted Loose Cannon to take over and continue his musical legacy, because somehow he knew he was going to die. This story appearing so comically fake that it would seemingly even leave the interviewer almost speechless.
More into producing and stuff. And then when I figured out, like right before Nip died, he was like, you got a voice. You need to take over and finish what I'm doing. And I was like, what are you talking about, cuz?
Nip told you that?
Yeah, so it was like 30 minutes before he died.
Well, how did he tell you? Through a text or what happened?
No phone call. He called me.
Wow, why do you think Nip would have said something like that?
I don't know. I just figured that he knew he was gonna die.
So he called you and said you need to finish off where he left off?
Yeah, he was like, nobody's like you because jealous. Shit. They envious of you. I love what you're doing. I love you, little bro. And then 30 minutes later, he died.
There would also be a very aggressive but hilarious phone call between Luce and Brick Baby, where Brick Baby would pressure Luce to tell when he had had his put on to the Rolllin 60's gang, clearly claiming that Luce was not a real member and once again lying about his credentials, before yelling that he has more bodies than Luce has squabbles or fights, cementing Brick's image as the proud founder of the Kill Squad, the menacing name for Brick's fanbase.
Adam, what's up?
Hey, Loose Cannon, I'm here live on the No Drama Show with Brick Baby and Lush. Brick Baby is requesting some information regarding your put on.
Hey, can you give us like at least 2 names from your put on and what block? I ain't never seen you at no meeting at Hyde Park, Horace Mann, or at 54th. When did you get put on?
Baby, when did
you get put on? I got put on in 2002. I got put out in 2002 on Eileen Street at June House. You know what's up. Yeah, dead homie. So when you get put on?
No, you haven't, bro. You been in
man, cuz Hillbilly was a part of my put on. Killer Dave was a part of my put on. Oh, the dead homies. My first name was Baby Wild Bill. On the dead homies at Izzy turned East Coast. That was the third I squabbled. Who did you squabble, gang? Come on, bro. I got more murders than you got squabbles in the hood. Dead homies.
But interestingly, in the lead up to the Rico arrest, a bizarre incident would take place where Brick and Luce allegedly ran into each other at a Las Vegas Airbnb. But to everyone's surprise, despite them both claiming to be looking to catch each other slipping, there was no violence between them. Looking back, this is bizarre considering how much they publicly hated each other. This chance encounter in Las Vegas, where they did nothing but talk, didn't really make any sense. Yet. But soon, things would get even more strange, as Wack seemingly got word of the investigation into the 2021 Las Vegas murder of Rayshawn Williams, passing the information to people in his Clubhouse circle to investigate for a murder mystery show on his 100 side show.
This murder mystery was on Rayshawn Williams, a young artist with life, ambition, everything to that nature. He was found dead in the Apex Desert, which is a little northeast of Las Vegas. His body had a lot of gunshot wounds, one being in the head, and it was described as execution style. We know that he was last seen alive communicating with key figures such as Big U, and somewhere between these final texts and everything like that, this is where it's weird. We went over the physical evidence, such as the DNA under his nails, possible GSR, but it never got tested. A missing phone. I mean, all of this raises so many questions. We even had suspects who emerged from this case, whether they were friends, mentors, and even those within his own circle. But the real question still remains: who had the real motive? Or even, to be honest with you, there's a lot of people in this case and a lot of key factors. The motive was there, but who was ballsy enough to do it? Who had the opportunity and who had the power to cover all of that up? Theories and our final suspect breakdowns look as, did Big U play a role with this? And if he did, like, what happened in those final moments?
Been in and out, but I don't know what the you been doing in here. But my goddamn phone going crazy.
Really? By who?
Hit me. They didn't found all kind of race up. So what is this? Mother and the sister. They on my line right now.
Oh no.
They on my line heavy.
That is so crazy. Shout out to the media too. I wasn't even expecting
The mother told me, you ready for this?
What's T?
She used to be the team mom for the Crenshaw Colts.
This would set the wheels in motion for the information to spread further. One key person in this saga would be 600, aka Christopher Lovejoy. 600 grew up in the Crenshaw district with the Rolllin 60's.
I'm from South Central Los Angeles, the West Side, Crenshaw district, Hyde Park, California, Rolllin 60's. I'm from where they made most of the movies is at. My neighborhood and my life story is kind of like Ricky and Boys in the Hood. I'm not the one who got shot. You know what I'm saying?
Later on, he would become a heavyweight boxer with an impressive looking but much criticized record that he made by mostly fighting in Mexico. And more recently, he's become known as the manager of none other than 53rd Street legend Crip Mac, before also going viral in his own right as a social media content creator who some have accused of working for the police due to his controversial takes, particularly in the lead up to Big U's arrest. Because while 600 is from the same hood as Big U, he also had a falling out with him, much like Loose Cannon. So when he would become privy to the information regarding Rayshawn Williams' murder investigation, 600 would speak out, posting clips of a phone conversation between Wack and Rayshawn's family, where the family would give inside info about the case, like telling how Big U's DNA had allegedly been found under Rayshawn's fingernails, and 600 wasn't seemingly deterred even by the fact that Rayshawn's mother would call him during his YouTube live on the 11th of March, pleading with him to stop talking about her son.
You're on the hotline with Papa.
Yeah, you know exactly who this is.
You telling me I know who this is? You said what?
This is Rayshawn Williams' mother.
Okay, what's going on? How would I know who you were?
Can y'all please stop talking about my son?
What do you mean? Well, this is what you gotta understand. Whenever something is online,
It's Rayshawn Williams' mother.
okay, listen what I'm saying. When everything is online, things get spread around online. So that's just whoever put things online first, that's who needs to get it. Now I haven't spoken to you in years. Am I wrong?
Everybody that's calling you, asking you the information, don't get in, bro. Okay. And I'm serious.
Okay.
Don't piss me the off. So anybody that's hitting you up, asking you any information about my boy, and they don't have it.
No, know what? Nobody never asked me about him though.
They don't know nothing. It's none of their business.
No, nobody never asked me nothing about him.
However, the mother would also say F Big U multiple times, making it clear how she felt about him.
And I'm serious because this starting to piss me off with everybody. And yeah, I said it, Big U.
Okay.
And this is Rayshawn Williams' mama, Big U. Yeah, I said it. And I want everybody to know how I feel. Him, his kids, and his wife. Yeah, I said it. Dead. And stop speaking up on my boy. Period.
Wack would also continue to discuss this case on his Clubhouse show, and in mid-March, they would drop a bombshell by letting everyone know that the feds were coming for Big U at the end of the month. This information coming also directly off the call between Wack and Rayshawn's family, with Wack and 600 saying that they went against the investigation, and apparently also Rayshawn's family by putting the call out in order to give Big U a warning to get running.
Understand, when the family is telling us this, that means the investigation is already done. Like, whatever they're doing, they already doing. Done. So, now the family, they told the street. Unfortunately, I felt withholding this is cooperating with the police. I'd have played this. He was arrested. They like, oh, Wack, you knew they was coming. You didn't say nothing. It would have been right. All the way right. The family's still cussing me out. Why did you play that? It's why did you tell me?
This phone call between Wack and Rayshawn's family, specifically his sister and mother, would turn out to be a treasure trove of information, revealing that not only the cops were coming for Big U, but also that the DA was allegedly planning on putting both the murder of Rayshawn and the murder of Nipsey into the same case.
What year did your brother killed?
My brother was killed in 22.
So it took them 3 years to do DNA?
Mm-hmm. They said that Big U was running for a long time. Like, he didn't want to take the DNA test.
So,
yeah, they
wait.
found his DNA test in my brother's nails.
Okay, so, that's bad work.
So that means my brother's fault. When I told you that Big U had popped up at my brother Airbnb.
In Vegas?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And the best friend was there, whatever, but the best friend said that he didn't want to talk to my brother in front of him, so he pulled my brother upstairs to the side. He said that he knew something was going on because when Big U left and my brother came, when Big U left the Airbnb and my brother came back downstairs, he said his whole energy was off.
Did they find your brother? Next day or next couple days?
The next day.
When did the test come back? When did the DNA come back?
It came back 2 months ago.
And they still ain't arrested me?
Well, they told me between me and you, please, between me and you, don't tell nobody because they don't want nobody to know. They're going to be making an arrest the ending of March, the beginning of April. They basically going to put his case and Nipsey Hustle case together.
Interestingly, Wack was playing both sides in a way that would keep his hands clean. On the one hand, strategically exposing this information that would lead to the takedown of his enemy Big U, but also suggesting that by airing this private information out publicly, he was actually keeping it street and giving a public warning to Big U so that he had time to potentially escape. But in the midst of Wack exposing all these details, he would suddenly fall out with Loose Cannon. Interestingly, this led to a podcast that shocked everyone, where former enemies Loose Cannon and Brick Baby would suddenly appear together on No Jumper, this time apparently uniting against Wack. However, Loose would have a hard time explaining why exactly he was mad at Wack, with his initial explanation being that it was all to do with Wack commenting on an apparent arrest in Loose's neighborhood that was falsely attributed to be targeting Loose, with Loose seemingly rambling around in circles and not really being able to say exactly why he was mad at Wack specifically.
My brother, Wack, right, run content on me on Clubhouse, and then you got everybody on YouTube spin a narrative and say that, oh, you lying. You get what I'm saying? Because of Wack insecurities with himself. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it was like, nah, because we can't do that.
So you felt like Wack was putting fake narratives on you because he almost instantly after this clip came out of your wife saying that your house was surrounded by cops or whatever, he almost instantly starts spreading the narrative that it's not true.
Yeah.
And he's really stuck to that, which is interesting because that means that you and him are not seeing eye to eye, that you couldn't convince him one way or the other, or have you not really talked since then?
No, I talked to Wack, and then I told him, he was like, I didn't say that. I said, listen, bro, you read the wrong thing because there was 3 SWAT teams available. One at 3.
When you called them?
Yeah. So, no, shut the so one at 3 a.m., one at 5 a.m., and then one at 10 a.m. Where they call swatting. So we had like the Las Vegas News Bulletin, pull it. They did the research and they came to it. So when Wack say it, this okay, listen. So when Wack say it or whatever, he spread the narrative that I was lying because of we had a business dealing that day. So he thought that I was just trying to get out of it. Get out of it. So when he did that, it was like, okay, yeah,
that'd be a pretty drastic way to get out of a business meeting, wouldn't it?
It was goofy. So when that happened, it's like, bro, you ran content on me. So when you ran content on me, you actually ran content because my wife posted it. Do you get what I'm saying? So you don't have no respect for me or her. So at the end of the day, it's like I took it personal.
I want to know what narrative. I'm gonna say it again, right? I repeated what your wife said. If I would have known for real, if I would have watched you go to jail, I still would have told the world you ain't in jail. Only thing I did was I repeated what your wife said. I said, listen, she never said it was her house. She said the streets blocked off. She never said he's in jail. She said, I hope he's at a...
But Wack, you said RP Loose Cannon when they was reading the articles. So when you say that,
no, I said there's no way that could be him because the article they read, they said is dead, shot themselves, and I said it would be R.I.P. Loose Cannon, and he not dead because Loose. Remember, I'm gonna remind you of something. I ducked everybody all day. I didn't go to Clubhouse till 6 p.m. That's a 6 o'clock room. You had already texted me. Remember? I knew you all right. You texted me.
Okay, so basically you said it, and then what about when the 600 running content?
You could show me what I ran content on you, bro. Why you keep saying that?
Okay, so listen.
Show me.
Listen, we're gonna take care of those deals, right? But let's do it on the Adam and Wack show, and we play the content, and let people judge. And wait, we let the people judge because if you right, no, Wack, if you right. On Dead Homies, I get it on here and I apologize. But if the comments say that I'm right.
So Luce was really mad at Wack for enabling 600 to expose the Big U murder case because Luce was going to be implicated in the whole gang conspiracy. But Luce didn't want to admit it at this point. So he chose a convoluted excuse saying that he was mad at Wack for commenting on the arrest that took place in Luce's neighborhood. But Luce would eventually let loose that it was 600's commentary on the Big U murder case that had really pissed him off. And Luce would even threaten to kill 600 in the interview, with Wack saying that he's not responsible for what 600 puts out there.
That's what I can't do. You running content on him, He run. I've been on him the last couple of days. You notice he ain't really did. I've been telling him don't feed into it, but you running it on him.
Cuz would die around with me.
Okay, but what if
60 Crip? Like we can't even go there, Wack, because it's not the same type of I am. I would get cuz out of here before summertime. Neighborhood Crip.
Well, here go the question: how often do all be in front of 600?
No, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not negating the situation that we around 600 maybe once every 6 months, right? But
Adam, can you stop Brick Baby from doing what he gonna do on his phone?
No, he's his own man.
I can't stop him from responding and doing what you know.
But you should tell 600 if he play with Loose Cannon, cuz gonna die.
And it would later emerge that even Wack was confused as to why Luce was panicking so much about Wack exposing Big U's murder case. Perhaps at that time, unaware of Luce's proximity to Big U's past crimes, but the panic had been spreading for quite some time. In an earlier podcast, when Brick was asked about Big U's murder investigation,
Revolutionary salute to Mary for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, Queen. Salute.
After Wack texted in and claimed that Brick had told him about Big U's case first, he would also panic, walking off the podcast and refusing to talk about open murder cases.
Emergency bulletin. Wack 100 text me. Be fake as Brick, the one who told 600 first.
Who? About what?
About Big U's alleged body, maybe?
Huh?
I don't know.
Call Wack.
Man, that say whatever. I told 600 about an alleged body.
You got a pie?
Y'all be up there on some fake.
Wait, what did Brick tell?
The first that warned it.
Wait, what did Brick tell 600?
June 23rd, 2023, when the police hit Brick Baby's house and you bailed him out. That nigga called 600 and told 600 they on cuz bumper. Big U got some problems coming. Now, I don't think Brick Baby knew what the they was talking about, but he mentioned talking about some in Las Vegas. Nobody knew.
Man, he's a fool, cuz on the dead homies. I ain't called no. Hey, man, you said that I called him about somebody. Man, you's a fool, boy. On the dead homies. You sound crazy to the.
Months later in August, bro, we've been told this story years ago.
Why are you even talking? Why are you talking about something about a murder? How do a gangbanger get to talk about a murder on the big screen? This is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what part of that's cool to y'all?
Let me answer the question.
What? No, it ain't no. It's no. It's go ahead.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
If that's the case,
I don't even want to talk about that.
What's on the internet?
What's on the internet? None of that's on the internet. What are you talking about? Don't nobody even want to talk about that type of shit. Because this is an argument that I'm willing to turn down right now and walk off screen. Like, what are you even talking about? Don't try to tie me into no police that you doing. You are doing police. You're talking about something. I ain't never said nothing about no DNA and. Oh man, what the f are you talking about? You see that this posted? The only way y'all know that is because you is the police, gang. That, man, hell no. What are you even? How? I'm gonna tell him. I told him about the shit that he talking about right now.
I questioned you about it. Hold on.
Man, you done lost your mind, boy.
Okay, watch this.
So I don't even know who the person is. So how the I'm gonna tell you who it is. I've never met the person, didn't know the name, don't know nothing about Ned around this. This talk about the family.
We got 600. Everybody be quiet. 600.
Bro, I'm not gonna talk about. Listen, I'm not talking about big. Listen, Adam. I'm finna walk up. I'm not talking about no.
Wait, I just want to hear. Let's hear what 600 says.
Y'all doing politics
about a murder in Vegas.
All right, breaks walking away.
Rico. Yeah, bro, never did that. I never knew nothing about that. Like, I knew that kid. I never even knew he died. Brick never told me that.
The Brick and Loose podcast was a legendary moment for the fans that had been following this beef closely for the past couple of years. People couldn't believe that these long-running enemies were united and willing to sit down after all of this tension. The podcast did phenomenal numbers, but nobody could have prepared for what was about to come the next day, because something wasn't adding up. The beef between Wack and Loose Cannon didn't quite make sense until the very next day when the feds would close in, delivering a sweeping series of arrests that targeted over a dozen Rolllin 60's members and affiliates, including Loose Cannon and Brick Baby. But for the time being, Big U would remain on the run after being tipped off by Wack in Clubhouse and podcast debates. And so as the days went by, handcuffs went on suspects and the criminal complaint emerged publicly. And soon, the whole world would know the shocking details about the years-long conspiracy that took down one of LA's most infamous gangs. Ultimately, the feds were on Big U for several years before they finally closed in, and he no doubt knew something bad was coming. On the 2-year anniversary of Rayshawn Williams' murder, North Las Vegas Police Department agents visited Big U's home, but he wasn't there. His wife then called him on his father's phone to warn him, with Big U sounding notably shaken, and then opting to stay away from home for a couple of weeks, something apparently out of the ordinary for his usual routine. Apparently the cops and the FBI tried to contact a number of people involved in the case, and every time Big U was one step ahead, even tampering with witnesses and attempting to make sure their statements were not incriminating. Big U was being surveilled heavily in the lead up to the arrests. The criminal complaint would break down details of all the times that Big U was recorded, bragging about using violence and fear to control his communities. And he would seemingly be pulled over and served a warrant for his DNA sample in the summer of 2023. In the lead up to the arrest, as 600 and Wack began circulating the rumors of this case getting serious, Big U took to social media to say that the allegations were untrue and that people blame Big U for everything, alluding to new rumors that he was involved in the murder of Fats, Nipsey's best friend.
Don't worry about this, man. Y'all gotta understand, man. People gonna talk. These lanes make money off of using Big U name. Right. One thing is for certain, right? Everything they say Big U did it, man. They got me doing so much. I don't even know what. Then I didn't do it.
Got you a whole bunch of different places at one time.
At one time. They say, y'all, you know, it's another new one too. I got into it with Fats. Let me give y'all the information. I ain't never got into it with Fats. Fats is my little homeboy. Ever in my life, me and Fats ever got into it with nobody. Never got ever. You really stupid. You really. It's the biggest selling name on the West Coast. You got to say Big U name. You want to sell something, Big U. They want to do something, Big U. They want to do Big U. Big U. Y'all don't get that yet?
But it was on the 17th of March 2025 when the music would finally stop and the feds would close in on Big U and the Rolllin 60's. A huge 107-page criminal complaint would be filed outlining the sordid details of Big U's alleged criminal empire that had terrorized LA for years. And 2 days later, arrests would be taking place. The operation, called Operation Drawdown, no doubt titled to make a tongue-in-cheek reference to the downfall of Draws, aka Big U, was announced by the LA District Attorney and the FBI in a press conference that described Big U as a career criminal.
Today, we're here to announce federal criminal charges against Eugene Henley Jr., a career criminal known as Big U, who used his contacts and leadership role in the Crips criminal street gang, the entertainment industry, and a youth charity to further his own criminal enterprise, an enterprise engaged in murder, extortion, robbery, COVID fraud. Henley engaged in a murder of a musician signed to his label in 2021 and dumped the victim's body in Las Vegas off of the I-15 freeway. He then attempted to evade and obstruct the investigation into the murder, including ordering witnesses not to speak with law enforcement.
The DA would even reveal that they had been following Big U's podcast activities as part of the investigation.
Here, as I said, Mr. Henley is a widely known leader within the Rolllin 60's. He rose to prominence in that gang decades ago, and he has since been a fixture on the internet, talk shows, and podcasts. All things that law enforcement have looked at closely as part of this investigation.
The criminal complaint was surprisingly comprehensive and revealed that the feds had been looking into the case since February 2021, just a week after the murder of Rayshawn Williams, describing Big U as the leader of the Rolllin 60's Crips, running it as a mafia-like organization. It used wiretaps, planted cameras, cell site information, as well as search warrants of social media, iCloud and Google accounts, and financial records belonging to those involved in the alleged conspiracy, even using undercover agents to buy guns and drugs from people involved in the conspiracy. Big U, Loose Cannon, and even Brick Baby, who wasn't even named as a defendant in the complaint, had their phones tapped by the feds, and hidden cameras and bugged microphones were even planted at locations that they were known to visit. The criminal complaint even claimed that Big U and the gang were using podcasts and online documentaries, as well as interviews to make the public fear the Big U enterprise. Shout out to the FBI agent that's getting paid to watch this one. Thank you for your service. And the feds would even directly cite comments made on the No Jumper podcast as evidence. It was also stated that while Brick Baby wasn't a main defendant in the Operation Drawdown, he had a separate sealed indictment pending for a different case. Brick Baby's indictment revealed 2 counts for illegally having guns and bullets, one of these incidents allegedly taking place on the 12th of June 2022, when Brick would reportedly shoot a 9mm handgun in the parking lot of a business, with a second incident taking place on the 23rd of June 2023, when Brick would be arrested by the LAPD, who allegedly found him with 3 guns and more than 130 bullets, and since some weapons and ammunition may have come out of state, this immediately triggered federal charges. The paperwork would also show Brick's earlier criminal history at the time of this arrest, ranging from 2010 to 2020, including reckless evading, 2 counts of possession of controlled substances, criminal threats, and robbery. Hey, who said Brick ain't got a rap sheet, huh? And while Brick would not be charged on the Big U Rico case, the feds would note that Brick's case may be related, as it arises out of the same conspiracy. It would be revealed in news reports that hundreds of agents had executed simultaneous arrests targeting 19 defendants identified in the case.
Now, this morning, hundreds of agents and officers, including multiple SWAT teams, executed multiple arrest warrants for many of the 19 defendants charged in this case. Search warrants were executed at 6 locations. Those searches continue to be underway. 4 of the 19 defendants were already in custody, and 10 defendants were taken into custody in the last 24 hours. And while we're still seeking the whereabouts of 5 individuals, 3 of whom we believe we will have in custody shortly, 2 defendants are considered fugitives.
Approximately 10 defendants were arrested, including Loose Cannon and Brick Baby, with footage of Loose's arrest being filmed by his wife circulating online. But interestingly, at the press conference, it was announced that Big U was a fugitive and was still at large, despite the criminal complaint and pending charges.
Mr. Henley is a fugitive, and he is currently wanted by federal law enforcement.
The news would continue to report on the arrest, proudly showing collages of those targeted. Big U had been on the run and released a statement saying that he was with his family and planning to turn himself in, as well as suggesting that the case against him wasn't true and that he was just being hunted for helping black people.
This is my last video before I turn myself in. I'm with my family. Talk to my sons, I talk to everybody, man. I'm just saying, going to deal with this fight, see what it is. I just want y'all to know, all this stuff is quagmire. So, I just need y'all prayers. I need y'all to, I don't even know what to say. I'm 21 years, elevated my family, come back, being right and do what I need to do until I can come back home. People are supposed to help me. I hope you help me. You can't, you don't worry about it. A lot of stuff y'all hearing is straight trash. And I appreciate the love and I appreciate people who've been helping me. I don't know. It's hard helping black people and not being hunted for doing it.
First Street, it might be to, I don't know if it's to the right or the left.
Reach out to anybody who can help me, y'all.
You hear me?
Help my own family. Appreciate y'all.
Big U would then take to social media once again to elaborate further on his feelings, firstly denying stealing money from developing options and claiming that the money he took was simply a salary that he used to pay his bills and feed his family.
I'm looking at this video as I come in to turn myself in, and I'm disheartened by the fact that they trying to say that I stole something from Developing Option, or I used Developing Option for some front. Developing Option paid my bills. They paid my house note. They paid the bills for my family, the money I made from as an employee for Developing Option. I never mixed that with nothing. I didn't manipulate nobody. I didn't steal nothing. We did PPP loans. We did 2 loans. And that's it, just like everybody else did. I didn't use no fraud. I didn't get none of fake names. And one of them we was paying back and one they forgave. You You know what I mean? And the other one we attempted for and they didn't give us nothing for it. I filed my taxes and them coming around telling me I was using development option as a cover. Cover for what? None of that's going to be true.
He would go on to claim that of the over dozen co-defendants in the case, many he doesn't even talk to.
The government putting this big picture, they going to arrest 21 dudes. Some dudes I don't even talk to. I don't even know nothing about.
Big U sounded defeated in these clips and told followers to pray for him, reflecting on all his achievements that he had made over his last 21 years of freedom.
It is what it is. Church, just pray for me. Pray for me, pray for my family. You look at what we did. You look at what I did. I've been home 21 years. It ain't over, though.
Big U would go on to say that he doesn't talk to any of the other people arrested and that the cops might as well arrest 600 and Wack since they're including his so-called enemies.
And then I'm looking at the people they arrested. How you gonna go arrest people that I don't even talk to? Everybody know I don't with Cannon. Everybody know I don't with Brick Bang. So if you want to arrest certain dudes, and put them next to me, them is the dudes you gonna have that call themselves turning against me. Well, ain't no turning against me. You might as well go get 600 and Wack.
Big U even accused 600 of waiting outside of his house with the police to watch the raid, a response to the fact that he'd reposted footage from the raid on his socials.
One of us, it ain't nobody safe with these dudes. If these dudes feel they want you, how they going around talking about somebody's gonna raid my house before my house get raided? How they there with the police? 600 was actually with the police when they raided my house. He's actually got video and footage of it. So y'all know what y'all dealing with. And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff.
Elsewhere, Big U would also suggest that whoever takes his spot as the leader of the 60s community movement must be working with Wack 100 to take that spot.
But y'all gonna be rolling with these dudes. And I got this last thing to say. Wack said he's gonna destroy developing option, right? So who gonna replace developing option? Which one of you in the 60s gonna call yourself coming in? Because whoever try to come in, y'all the ones that's working with Wack. Believe that. So remove me to get me out the way for somebody else to come in who gonna cooperate. That's what the play is.
Big U went on to blame Wack for working with the FBI to try and take away his government funding.
100 times he was gonna take my contracts. He working with the FBI. The FBI went to the city 3 days in a row and told the city they didn't want nobody to give me no more money. They went to all the different celebrities and told all the different celebrities, don't give me no money, don't help me, don't do nothing for me. They're going around scaring and intimidating everybody.
Now, Big U calling out people shutting him down and saying they were scaring and intimidating people was pretty hypocritical. But from here, he would continue to pull the race card and claim that the FBI are trying to shut down black men doing right by their communities.
Trouble. Like y'all don't understand what the FBI do to black men who try to help their community. I ain't been nothing but a help to our community. But I guess it is what it is. This the price of being black and trying to help somebody, trying to help your community and do what you can. You're just guilty because somebody else don't like you and they go on the internet and do what they want to and y'all gonna promote it. It's crazy.
Now, it's this sort of thing that made Big U so dangerous, allegedly harming his own community under the guise of helping it and then hiding behind the race card when accountability came knocking. But ultimately, the facade had now been destroyed. The news would report on Big U going into FBI custody, describing him like a mob boss.
Breaking news, this just in, the FBI says that South LA crime boss Eugene Big U Henley is now in custody. Authorities say he ran a mafia-like organization while masquerading as a music mogul and gang peacemaker.
Some would report that the DA handling the case was looking at connections between Big U and Nipsey's murder as well. All this crazy news sent the podcast media space into a frenzy. A No Jumper News episode discussing the latest news went mega viral, reaching over 15,000 live viewers and racking up hundreds of thousands of views. Funnily enough, during a segment on the show while Wack 100 was calling in, the full criminal complaint dropped online. I actually read this immediately and even sent Adam22 a number of screenshots of details that related to No Jumper and his podcast shows, including the show with Wack, as well as the section about Wack being confronted by the Rolling 60s at the show at the Novo. In response to this, Big U's nephew, Tiny Draws, would post about the podcast saying that those people don't do anything for their communities and are snitches. The news sparked a raucous debate which went far beyond the walls of No Jumper. On social media, an apparent public hit was put on Christopher Lovejoy and Loose Cannon, and Wack 100 would claim that Brick and Big U were named in a sealed court file tied to a case against the New Jersey Rolling 60s, a case that led to the battle rapper Sue Surf being sentenced to 5 years in prison.
In Jersey.
What did Brick ever have to do with them? You think Brick is in some way complicit
Big U
with that?
too. He had a sealed file, the exposures, Prince, Lavish, pulled it up. We tracked the case number back to Sue Surf now. First, we thought it was some dirt. It's not dirt. He got a sealed file, dope case, New Jersey. It's the same indictment. Sue Surf now. I know it is.
On the 26th of March 2025, a full indictment would be returned from a California grand jury, which formally charged Big U, they, Bear Claw, Loose Cannon, and 2 others with a litany of crimes. This reiterated the claims made in the prior criminal complaint, as well as provided several new key details and pieces of evidence that gave more insights into the alleged crimes committed, like pictures of the scene where Rayshawn Williams' body was found, or interesting details like the fact that Big U left the subpoena and a baseball hat associated with the Rolling 60s behind for the feds to find after they raided his home, and that Big U's social media messages while on the run were now being included as overt acts as part of the racketeering conspiracy. Sadly, it's not looking good for the Rolling 60 neighborhood Crips, especially Big U. In conclusion, it seems that Big U was perhaps one of the most infamous and feared Crips in LA history. No doubt he truly did run Los Angeles in a sense. Nothing could happen in the streets without him having a say, and if the indictment is to be believed, this was truly a dangerous man, willing and ready to kill at the slightest violation, a predator, preying on the weak and extorting those who were scared of his reputation with threats of violence that the whole city knew he was willing to follow through on. But really, this is also the story of a sick individual. I can't imagine how twisted someone would have to be to murder one of their son's childhood friends, one that they had personally coached in football as a child, no less. If these allegations are true, then we're dealing with a very dangerous person who put zero value on human life and was willing to kill a child they had seen grow up over something as trivial as a diss song or wasted studio time. That's one of the most dark and twisted things I have ever heard in a gang case. And if it's proven in court, then there's no doubt that Big U won't be seeing the streets again. But in Big U's defense, even though the criminal complaint paints a damning picture of the double life he was living, we can't necessarily overlook the actual good that he did do for his community. Although there's accusations that Big U scams may have reached all the way to the kids' toy drives, you can't remove all the toys, gym equipment, and other stuff that his organization did manage to donate to kids in need, or the countless hours that he personally dedicated to do something positive for the youth in his community. But then again, does that make it worse? Were the positive things Big U did in fact do for his community genuine efforts by a flawed gangster to take the right path? Or are these also just calculated moves of a manipulative mastermind who masterfully used positive acts as a method to mystify and cloak a dark empire of murder and extortion? We'll have to see how this case plays out in court, but the sad truth is, if these allegations are true, the man who was doing the most for his community was also doing the most damage to it. Ultimately, sometimes it seems like the image that people try and portray can say more about what they're pretending to be rather than what they really are. I hope that Big U can get a fair and speedy trial. And if there's one thing that I've learned from this story, it's that if you are going to be part of a murderous gang conspiracy, maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't do any podcasts.
Go figure. Follow me